This week on We Hate Movies, it's a sci-fi horror teen-led film that was released on, you guessed it, Christmas Day. It's The Faculty. I'm Andrew Jupin.
Steven Sadak.
Eric Siska.
Harrington Hornet. I mean, Chris Cabin.
And we hate movies. Hello, everyone. Welcome to We Hate Movies. Thank you for tuning into the fine program. This is a comedy show that talks about movies of all kinds and makes fun of movies of all kinds. And this week, that's right, Robert Rodriguez's much maligned 1998 horror sci-fi film, The Faculty.
Not much maligned. This movie is currently streaming on the Criterion Channel.
Wow.
Well, at the time, you're right, Steve. I should say at the time.
Yes.
Much maligned. But now, yes, it's on the Criterion
I
Channel.
think we're days away from the Police Academy films being on Criterion.
Dude,
I
all
think
you
they
gotta
already
do-
were there, buddy. I think they were already
Really?
there. Yeah,
Oh,
I
of
really
course.
do.
You gotta find just the right, like, hip title to, like, collect the movies.
The silly
and then-
blue line, maybe.
The silly blue line. Yeah, and it's all just goofy cop comedies.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just celebration of 80s comedies. You can just throw that fucker right in.
You're
Throw
welcome,
all-
Criterion
anything
Channel.
you want.
Well, because they did, last year they had that great 80s horror series, which I went through like almost like fucking gangbusters. Now they've got this, it's like a high school horror, what they're calling it. It's
Right.
It's
Back
the
to
fact,
school. Just
yeah.
like this episode for us is our back to school episode.
Precisely. And they've got like this, they've got Donnie Darko, which question mark horror, a little bit. Yeah, it's spooky.
Don't they
scary.
also have I Still Know What You Did Last
Yeah,
I
Summer?
think
do.
they do.
They got
Which is-
that.
Wow,
They-
that's
No,
a
I think
reach.
it's just the OG. I know
Just-
what.
Oh, I know. Pardon me. Bite my tongue.
There was some movie, it's called, like, Massacre at Central
Really
High.
good movie.
Oh,
No,
really?
it's not.
Yes, it is. I love
Dude,
that movie.
We're here to talk about The Faculty, but I fucking thought that was the dumbest goddamn movie.
Is
That
this a
Roger
doc-
Ebert.
Is it a documentary?
No,
No,
it's
no.
it's a slasher from like
Not about your high school.
1976 that Ebert said was one of the best movies of that year.
Wow. All right. Now I got to see this, Ebert.
That's insane, but it is really good.
Anyway,
Interesting.
Robert Rodriguez is The Faculty,
That's
folks.
right.
It's, hold on.
What's that, Steve?
I got to hit play real quick.
Coming
Just
soon
there.
to theater.
Oh,
To
yes,
start the
ladies
thing.
and gentlemen, it's back
This
with
happens.
a vengeance. It's the VHS Trailer Game.
Let's hand it to the champion, Eric Siska,
no.
stepping down.
Oh, yes, let's take that crown right off your head and put
well.
it center stage.
No. I
here.
believe it's like the wrestling rules. I'm defending the belt.
Yes, okay.
So until then, I've got
Yeah,
the
you're
crown.
still a champion.
I've
Sure.
got the belt.
Presumptive champion.
That's right. So if there's some type of default thing that the whole thing gets thrown, I just win again.
I
Yeah.
just want you to know that does make it is a loss indeed at the end of this VHS trailer game. That does make it more of a loser standing if you lost the belt.
It's true.
As compared to anybody's game.
Yeah.
anybody's
So you're
game.
saying you lost double last year?
Oh, I did. I absolutely did.
So this is a fun game, capital F, fun game, wherein I ask these fun We Hate Movies guys some questions I pull from VHS trailers that I find now on YouTube, which often, if you watch, ladies and gentlemen at home, Google VHS opening The Faculty or VHS
Why were you
opening.
telling him how to find it?
Oh, like Eric Siska could never do a YouTube
I've got
search.
integrity, sir.
Sure.
Dude, some of the
sir.
openings to these videos would put Skidmarink to shame because it's just some creepy guy in his, like, you see the reflection
Wait,
in the TV.
They're filming
Oh,
the TV.
They're filming the TV,
Wait, so
putting the tape
this is
in and pressing
terrorism.
play. Yes.
If I'm understanding this correctly, and I believe I am,
Yeah.
to facilitate this game now every season, you are indeed watching cams of trailer reels.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
I love
I
it.
started out buying them, but it just comes too fast, man.
That's true.
So I will ask 5 questions, in descending order, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blah blah blah. If you buzz in, you know that.
Oh, sure.
But since it's now season 14, which is I think it's regions, but we're all from the Northeast, so that doesn't count.
You're making a Master Chef
Are you making
reference?
another Master Chef reference?
Oh boy.
Which nobody watches.
Master Chef US. We apologize to our, people in the UK and whatnot.
But the way to make this more fun, I'm just adding more prizes on top. So the winner of this season will get the Cameo Slush Fund. Last week you heard the great Billy D. Williams call in. We've had Eric Roberts on this show. We've also had Ernie Hudson. So it's a really great tradition we've got going. For this season, you will also be able to do yet another We Hate Movies redo episode to start the season in September. And to add on to that, you get the We Love Movies episode of your choice for that September. So whatever you want, you can go a little bit outside the box. If you're always like, man, I've always wanted to do, I don't even know what.
Right.
Now you can do it. Now you can do it.
Wow, Steve, I got to say, man, you are providing us with precisely the opposite of the crummy crummies. This is the real deal stuff, folks. These are the real gems. This is what you won't be winning. It's none of the crummy prizes. This is a real deal gem prize.
Steve, can you do that? Can you give that away? Oh my God, are you all right? Can you give that away?
The yummy.
John in the back room can eat shit because the VHS Trailer Game's got the real gem prizes.
All right, here we go. We're going to start. Round 1 of season 14. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Game Master's Clue.
Steve had a heart attack. Oh,
he's
no,
dead.
Steven.
Oh, that's it.
Gotta lay off the cigarettes. An anniversary sequel for a classic horror franchise. Andrew Jupin.
Halloween H2O.
It is Halloween H2O for 5 big points. This one brought back its star 4 entries after blah, blah, blah. Obviously, this was Josh Hartnett, star of The Faculty's debut.
Dude, that movie came out 4 months before The Faculty did.
And
same haircut.
Same haircut.
God awful.
And hilariously, because the Weinsteins were bad people and bad at marketing, that movie, Halloween, it came out in the summer. Don't worry about it. We'll release The Faculty in Christmas.
You know what? They belong in jail, not just for those various crimes, but releasing that movie in the summer, releasing this in Christmas.
Absolutely.
Bob is still breathing free air, isn't he?
Yeah, Bob, because I don't
Not
know
on
that
my
Bob
watch.
had any of the,
He belongs in jail as well. You know he knew what's
probably
up.
he knew, but also
knew.
probably crooked business practices.
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to look at those books.
Round 2, here it comes. Coming fast. Game Master's Clue. Of the mid to late 90s high school set Shakespearean adaptations, this was the fun one. It's also a breakout role for Chris Cabin.
She's all that.
Incorrect. Andrew Jupin.
10 Things I Hate About You.
10 big points for I'm sorry, you go
10 total.
10 total right
Look
now.
at you coming out of the gate.
Don't worry,
yes.
it's not going to last.
Tribute, by the way, for that, which we never get to. Andrew Keegan didn't know how to draw genitals for one scene, and David Krumholtz had to teach him.
Okay.
Which kind of
I
genitals?
don't know.
It's a
If
big
you've-
honking cock.
I think it's probably a big
imagine,
honking cock.
How you not how to draw a big honking cock?
Yeah.
I mean, David Krumholtz, just wisdom up the ass.
It's
Just being able
Krumholtz,
to-
man. Krumholtz. I'll say this about Krumholtz, dude. Open invite on the show.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Always
yeah.
loved Dave Krumholtz. Fucking awesome in Oppie.
And maybe you could teach us how to paint like Georgia O'Keeffe. if
That's
it's
right.
The other type.
Paint that pussy. Oh, that was
Pussies
Pop
and
That
dicks.
Pussy.
Yeah,
I
well,
mixed up the
we'll
song
do-
title.
Welcome
Listen
back
up.
to Paint
We'll do
That
both.
Pussy with David Krumholtz. Here on the PBS Public Broadcasting System.
Oh yeah, it would be kind of like the Bob Ross.
Yeah,
thing. It's like,
yeah.
oh, now just a little nice clitoris over here.
Paint
I'll
that
make him-
pushy. Paint that pushy, baby.
Some lippy friends here at the end.
Oh,
And
that's
just
good.
another big old Oppenheimer mushroom cloud in the background there. Just a pretty old mushroom cloud.
I honestly hope it was a vagina because Andrew Keegan has a penis as far as I
as
understand
far as
it.
I understand it as well.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll have to investigate further.
We will have to get back to you on that
Yeah.
one. Round 3. Game Master's Clue.
Ooh, nice.
Video games have never been this gross when this auteur horror director took aim at what he thought they might look at through his body horror lens. Chris Cabin.
Existence.
It's an existence
yeah.
for 5 big points. You couldn't shut out Chris Cabin, Andrew. You couldn't shut him out.
I didn't say I could.
You can shut him out.
Got it.
And now It is the bonus round because it's a movie I've never fucking heard of, and I
I
really,
love these.
which means that the points are doubled.
My final chance at getting anything.
Exactly.
You know this, whatever this movie is, when the title comes to light, Chris is going to be like, oh yeah, that movie? We had 2 copies of that on VHS at my parents' house.
At least 2.
I will be shocked if anyone gets this, and we're going all the way to the end here, folks.
Okay,
Okay.
let's hear it.
Game Master's Clue. A mousy office worker at a magazine, played by a taxi alumnus, goes on a killing spree in this black comedy corporate satire.
Oh boy.
So we've got a mousy office worker at a magazine, played by a taxi alumnus. Chris Cabin?
Office Killer?
How in the fuck do you know
See?
that?
See?
Really good movie.
No, really?
Yes,
it's a good movie.
Someone was searching YouTube.
It was on the Criterion.
No, was it seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Who's the mousy?
It's Carol Kane.
I figured as much.
Yes.
And
wow.
what's her name from Marley Ringwald?
Molly Ringwald is number 2. Yes. Wow.
Office
That's
Killer.
crazy. Yeah,
I'm
Interesting little movie.
shocked.
Wow.
never
So,
heard of it.
2 copies of that at the Cabin House?
No, I actually, it was the Criterion. It was on
That's
it.
so
and I was
fucking
like,
God
funny.
damn, I got to brush up on garbage. Gotta put on the Criterion channel.
So that's 15 points for Chris, 10 for Eric. I'm sorry, 10 for Andrew.
Wait,
Pardon.
he already said it.
No, that does not count. And 0.
I'll shove that Fiji water bottle so far up your ass you'll be a walking
Don't
water
worry,
fountain.
I'm taking a dive, making my boys feel good.
Of course, yes, of
I
course.
love it.
You're always on top. I know.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Paint That Pussy with David Krumholtz.
Why does Krumholtz have that voice?
No, that's just the announcer.
Oh,
on PBS.
that's
right.
good. Yeah, because a show like that needs an announcer.
Now,
for sure.
we're going to have to talk about pubes here.
And then he finishes off like Jackson Pollock style.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because what
Sprays
was, what was Bob Ross's thing he'd say when it's like when you dip that paintbrush back in your water there and you're gonna beat the hell out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And he would like hit it against the fucking
Oh,
like,
yeah, it was
wall.
great.
Well, okay,
He's gonna
so-
beat the hell out of it.
That's one that would carry over. Oh, here's a nice little bush here. Both Bob Ross
That's it.
and him could do that.
glistening in the morning dew. Of course.
Yeah, so this movie I've seen now twice. Once I believe was on tape in 1999 and the other time was yesterday. It was always a movie like after I saw it I was like, yeah, all right. And then just 20 some odd years went by.
I have to admit something. I think I'm not crazy about Robert Rodriguez in general.
I mean, I
What a
think
shock.
I like him like spliced with the 2 movies of his I really like
Yeah.
are the movies where he's working with other like
So
from
Shark Boy and Lava Girl 3D.
well, yeah, of course.
Spy
And
Kids.
was it De Palma that wrote that? I think that or Schrader. Sorry. Yeah. That was an off job. No,
Lava
from
Boy.
why is
just sitting
Shark
at a
wearing
desk.
such red lipstick? That's so much red lipstick.
well,
for
I
Shark.
guess she's writing in her diary.
Well, so wait
again.
a second. So what? Desperado?
No. From
No?
Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Alita,
Yeah.
Battle Angel are the 2 that I really like.
I like both of those. I also really like Desperado.
I really like Desperado.
And I think El Mirachi's got some
I think
juice to it.
They're all very shruggy for me. Like I watched them as a kid and was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" And
Yeah.
like I rewatch them now, I'm like, "This is taking a while."
No, I mean, I think Desperado still holds up. I would wager that I was wrong about Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
I know
Oh,
that I was wrong
I really
about it.
liked that movie.
It's
when it came out.
terrible.
Is it? Yeah,
'Cause
I
I
remember-
remember,
I
it being terrible.
Like coming out of the theater, be like, but guys, there's one part where Johnny Depp's got his eyes pulled out and he's
Yeah.
still walking around. I thought it was the coolest shit. And then like 3 months later, I was like, nah.
Even the third one I like a lot is Sin City, where he's working with
Yes.
fucking Frank Miller and it has all.
Oh, I
the-
forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I have not seen that movie since like George
Yeah.
W. Bush was in office.
Still
so I
looks
don't know.
cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
still
It's
really
got
looks
some
cool.
cool
That's the thing.
moments.
Does it still look cool?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
it does.
Okay, because that was, I mean, we're talking about this movie today. There is some rancid ass CGI in this movie that was rancid in
At
the
the-
late
oh,
90s.
for sure.
So I didn't know like whether or not, because again, been a long time since I seen
And
it.
one of the last things that I've seen of Mr. Rodriguez, who I do,
Uh-oh.
I have like an affinity for the guy.
He just seems like a good dude.
Yes.
Yes, that
Um,
I agree with.
Probably great hang is the that fucking Boba Friend, dude.
Oh,
He was
no,
all-
dude, you saw fucking
Hypnotic.
Hypnotic.
Oh, that's right, Hypnotic as well, but also Boba Friend. But
Yes, Boba
Hypnotic
Friend.
is a dark horse for worst of the year. It's
Yeah.
it's
That's
in the
crazy.
running.
I
It's
might
in
do
the-
it.
I have not seen it yet, but I can't wait for January, maybe. Huh?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe.
I feel so bad about that because yesterday after I watched this, you know, and we sort of mentioned it up top, but yeah, it was like a fucking classic Harvey chop job situation. The movie was totally fucked up in the edit. And I saw like some mention about like a whisper of a director's cut. So I started like Googling, couldn't find anything about that, but I did find an interview with Rodriguez where like guy interviewing him was like, The Faculty's my favorite movie, and talking to him about it. But in that, it was an article, the point of the interview was about Hypnotic.
I'm sure.
And the start of it was Rodriguez talking about how like, it's kind of like a passion project for him, and all I could think about was Steve telling me how terrible it was.
It's awful, dude. Well,
I mean, it would be a good connection if we're doing Oppenheimer as the WLM for that. He's just jacking his own fucking style in that.
But you know, this was a big deal, and I didn't see it because it came on Christmas Day, and that's
not crazy.
Yet other things to do. Yep.
But I mean, like Kevin Williamson, I was way into obviously Scream, and at the time I was way into Robert Rodriguez. So this should have been a match made in heaven.
I guarantee that director's cut, if it exists, is even worse than this. As much as I hate studio chop jobs, sometimes they're just salvaging what was there. Like apparently there was a character cut out of the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, Quincy Jones' daughter.
Which is, and it wasn't Rashida, it was the other one.
Yes.
Gotcha.
A woman I had never heard of.
And like that just tells you that director's cut must be fucking soggy.
That's the thing is, I'm sure it's not good, but at least like I can get involved. Like the beginning might actually ask me to be introduced to the movie rather than like, kids, all right. The offspring, like just Robert Patrick yelling at someone like, who are these people? What's going on?
Is rough. Also, there's just too many characters in general, which is what I was trying to make that point with the director's cut angle. Too many characters. You can't do The Breakfast Club as all of them are the leads and you're leaving that room. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You can't just run around the fucking world with 7 people as your protagonist.
Especially if like most of your movie is plot and explanation and like there's so like they try to give them little bits of characterization,
right?
But most of it's the actors. Most of the actors are bringing what is interesting about these characters.
And
to life.
I do think the cast is good, and I think the cast actually does well in all these roles. The problem is you get sold a movie, The Faculty, and then by Act 2, it's not the faculty, it's the kids, and it's
right. But that's the problem of naming the movie The Faculty, and that was actually something in that random interview I found. Rodriguez was being like, I didn't even want to fucking call it that. Like there was a bunch of other names that were bandied about, and Harv and the fucking Genius Tank were like, it's called The Faculty, god damn it.
You know what's so funny about not only the title The Faculty, but also I didn't even realize I was reading up. This movie reminded me a lot of The Class of 1999, which was sort of a sequel to Class of 1984. And in Class of 99, they're android faculty members.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then I was on the Wikipedia for Class of 99, and it mentions this movie because Tom Morello and the guy from Alice in Chains do that goddamn Pink Floyd cover.
As Class
of 99. So even they fucking knew it.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
It's just very similar. And I also think the meta-ness of the movie kind of fails because there's not enough talk about it. There's not enough back and forth. Elijah Wood hits it perfectly at one point, but then you just drop it, and then you're just doing the scene from The Thing, and it doesn't feel like a commentary.
It's Elijah Wood and Clea Duvall's character kind of split the Randy Meeks character, and that's the thing. Because 2 other dudes wrote the script for this movie, passed it around Hollywood. Eventually, Miramax picked it up, and Harvey, just chasing the success of Scream, at that point, Scream 2 had not come out yet, but so it's like Scream's a huge success. Let's do that again. Let's bring in Big Kev Williamson, rewrite the script entirely, and make it, like we're doing all this meta shit, like observing all of these like classic sci-fi movies, but it doesn't get carried off enough. And then also I think just in the comparison to Scream, which you can't help but
of course
make, that's a big cast too, but why it works is because they all start getting killed.
Yes.
And this movie refuses to kill characters.
That's
and then even when it eventually sort of does, they're all brought back anyway. So you're still just dealing with this gaggle of children the whole movie.
We'll get to it eventually, but this is the biggest chicken shit ending in the history of cinema.
Yep.
It's the most chicken
Famke
shit.
Janssen is still alive and doesn't look like she was put through the mangler. Like, it makes no sense whatsoever. And like, I I think it's really bad at building tension. Like, I think it just, like, as soon as something starts, like, wait, no, here it is. No, don't hang on it. Don't worry. Actually, this is the answer to your
It's
question.
not a very scary movie.
Because Rodriguez doesn't really do horror like that. I mean, Planet Terror is more of a horror comedy, if anything.
Right.
But it's good.
It is.
Ooh.
But also, I mean, you're right,
boy.
though. Like, I wouldn't, like, Dusk Till Dawn is a horror movie. I would never say it's scary at any point. It's fun as fuck and it's gross. And it's got some really tense situations. I think a lot of these people, fighting the vampires at that bar would have given themselves a better shot at surviving if they were just like a bit more chill and a little focused, like from microdosing, honestly. And folks at home, if you don't know what microdosing is, I mean, it's just a cool word for helping your body and mind feel just right. Especially if you're like me and you have trouble staying focused or keeping your anxiety at bay. Microdosing is something I worked into my routine ages ago. And on the other side of the busy workday, it's also helpful for, just conking out and getting to sleep easier. The show today is sponsored by Microdose Gummies. And these little tasty guys, they deliver perfect entry-level doses of THC that help you feel what we want to call just the right amount of good. Now, I know we've gone on at length around here over the years about our epic green out sessions and so on. And, let me just assure you, especially for the entry-level THC user out there, this is not what we're talking about when we talk microdosing. So you don't have to worry about getting too high and screaming, "I'm a golden god" from the top of your roof before jumping in a pool. No, folks. These little guys are just great for when, I'm sitting around to write and I want to make sure I can actually focus. Like Nicholson says at the beginning of The Shining, I'm outlining a new writing project. And for me, it's incredibly nerve-wracking and it's daunting. And I'm thankful that I've had Microdose Gummies by my side to keep my head straight and ready to focus on the task at hand. And since we're talking microdosing, of course, I don't need to pop a bunch of these guys to get in the zone. Quite the opposite. I just take one at the start of the day, and I've been digging the orange cream cookies gummy flavor, which that's a sativa strain. Okay, and I'm ready to get creative and ready to be in the moment as I work. And when I'm ready to call it quits for the rest of the day, I pop another guy about an hour before bed, like the rocking wild berry flavor, and I'm ready to head off to dreamland. I cannot recommend these Microdose gummies enough, folks. Now, Microdose is available nationwide. To learn more about microdosing THC, go to microdose.com and use code WHM to get free shipping and 30% off your first order. Links can be found in the show description, but again, that's microdose.com and code WHM.
It's an action horror. Like, that's closer to what you're doing.
And he does that here too, but this, to your point, probably needed to be more of a horror movie.
Yeah. And I guess because it's like, you can make the argument for a lot of characters, because if you're doing Invasion of the Body Snatchers thing, it's like, who is what, who is this?
Yeah.
But you need the tension to back that up.
They don't even...
Take it easy, big fella. Take it easy.
Even
Chris's
have
face
the
is-
conversation of like the 78 version versus the 19.
I know.
the 68. Oh, did you see the Ferrara version? Oh yeah, I saw that. Do you know what they did in that? They can't even be. They're so fucking lazy.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was there at some point, but then like Harvey or Bob or someone was like, no kid's gonna get this.
I was covering up a rape the other day, and while I was doing it, this guy said, "Let's notify the faculty." That's a movie. The faculty.
Yeah, you got. Yeah, no, don't mind the woman crying in the background. Let me give you terrible notes for your movie. Harvey
don't worry
Weinstein
about that.
will die in prison. That's pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
I hope so.
And the other thing too, just as far as, again, Scream comparison here, but like part of the building up of excitement and terror and everything like that in Scream, it's one of the most famous cold openings of all time with Drew Barrymore as Casey, whatever the fuck. In this movie, it's Robert Patrick ending a football practice and then like being on the field a little longer and turning around, seeing someone in silhouette who we don't see ever and just going, "What the hell do you want?"
Yes.
And then it's like the camera kind of like whooshes at him as if it's a "You Wouldn't Steal a Car" DVD commercial, just like a big like punch in, and it cuts to like the faculty, or it cuts to like the next meeting part or whatever. So there's no real like, he's not being stalked at any point. He's not terrified. He's just
it's a bifurcated cold open because Bebe Neuwirth that's all going to happen to her.
Right.
But I guess we have to set up the Robert Patrick part, which I agree with you.
Do.
No, yeah, I mean, like,
don't.
I also
No.
the weird thing about the alien. So, like, you know,
by the way, I like that he's such an asshole before he's an alien.
yes,
We are going to lose this game. You are all shit. we shouldn't even come to the game.
He should be very supportive of the team once he's an alien. That would be funny.
That's the thing that actually bothered me this time around. On top of everything else that kind of bothers me about this movie, even though I kind of still like it. I'm a soft recommend. Spoiler alert.
Sure, yeah, me too.
But is the whole thing like whatever the alien does to you isn't super clear? It does
is not
because
clear.
like in the thing, the idea is it is literally just trying to fit in. It won't act differently because it doesn't want to be seen.
Right.
But in this movie, it makes ladies sexier, and then other things also sort of happen. There's no one-to-one like
no.
It's not your innermost desires. This thing takes care.
It's the thing because we're trying to also do this riff on like high school conformity and all that stuff.
Sure.
So what the alien does to you, at least this is how I was looking at it, is like it makes you the person you really are inside without all of these like, ooh, what does the clique think of me? So if I were infected by that alien,
sure,
right, in high school, I wouldn't be like loudmouth movie guy or whatever. I'd be like, I just love Star Trek and I like sitting at home watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like that kind of shit where it's like if you didn't have to care about other people in high school caring about, you know, what you are, who you are, or whatever, this is how you would act. But it's not, I don't think it's even successful at doing that or clear that it's doing that really.
I mean, it's also, I mean, if you want a good example of comparing this, a movie that is not good but does that part much better is Disturbing Behavior.
Oh no, don't you dare.
100%.
Don't you
100%.
dare.
I think I'm with Steve on this one.
I don't care being alone. I understand at least what the fuck is going on in Disturbing Behavior. I have no, like, at some points they're supposed to be all together, but then they like get pissed off at each other.
Ironically, I swear to God, I will pull up my notebooks in the other room. I could take it out for you. I wrote down in my notes last night, at least this movie is better than Disturbing Behavior. Like word for word, I was like, this movie is better than Disturbing Behavior.
Here's the thing. I know that last season we did an episode on Disturbing Behavior. Our bud Angelica Jade Bastien was on that episode. Can you guys remind me what the deal is there? It's a drug that they're getting?
No, it's like a
therapy.
It's a therapy, like a brainwashing Clockwork Orange kind of a deal.
They take him to an institute.
The institute.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yes, I couldn't even tell.
But it's not clear as to what. No, but I agree. Like, at least in that movie, to your point, yes, it's like when they go through the thing, they become like, you know, 1950s mods or whatever
this
the fuck
group, and they're a group.
But in this movie, you gotta, because the alien has to hide amongst the people, so it's not like visibly changing their personalities as much. I feel,
but it does. It does. So like, Bebe Neuwirth has it's a nice little opening with it's her, Piper Laurie, and the great Daniel von Bargen.
Hell yeah, von Bargen.
I love that guy.
Two veterans of The Postman in this movie. Because the guy who plays Stan, the kid who plays Stan, I believe played Von Bargen's son in The Postman.
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And Von Bargen, you know, the
better
whole thing,
movie, The Postman.
And it's like a beleaguered public school. They don't have money for anything, but they do have money for the football team. And like, that's kind of the gimmick. And like, that's.
There's no music this year or whatever. And it's just like, what is this poor woman going to do? Put your head down for the rest of the year?
No stage play. We actually have to strip the theater for copper wiring and demolish it. It's actually going to become a concession stand.
But, you know, yes, they have a lot of money for the football team. There's even a, I guess, a swim team. Now, I had thought about this. Did you guys have pools at high school?
Not in
Really?
We had a pool in our high school.
I literally thought it was a movie thing. I didn't think it existed. This is like $1 million movie man high school.
We didn't have a pool and we didn't have a football team because we didn't want to pay the insurance on it. I remember
Steve,
that.
you guys could have gone swimming in like the holy water tank.
That's true.
Well, no, so this was crazy. So we had a pool in our high school. So it was a nice pool, nice facility.
Very nice.
We had a swim team, we had a dive team, but also, because I think that they were like, we can't justify putting a fucking pool in if it's just the teams doing it. So they worked it into phys ed. So I think it was like 10th grade or whatever it was, you had a swimming unit in PE. And it was just the dreaded, now we're just all going to be in front of each other in bathing suits. It was.
So how was that?
Brutal. It was it was twofold. It was brutal.
I did not need it was an all boys school, so I wouldn't have minded that.
It was
much.
brutal and it was great. It was brutal because me as a fucking fat dude in high school, literally worried about my appearance every second of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Being a little kid with a gut and fucking man boobs and whatnot.
I still feel like that.
Me too. But this is high school that was happening to me at this particular moment.
And your schwanz was out.
Yeah,
too.
dude, you don't want that. Dude, I had seen Home Alone 2 1,000 times. His bathing suit falls off from the pool. You never know. But at the same time,
it's going to happen.
The girls were also in the class with you.
So
the girls were also in the class.
Gotcha.
It was a double-edged sword, that fucking high school swimming unit, I will say.
It's crazy that it's the concept just blows me away. We had track and field. If you wanted, you could run around in a goddamn circle. That's it.
We had a bowling team where you'd have to you'd have to drive to the bowling alley, and
the priest buy you beer?
I think
beer
so.
and cigarettes.
The Bronx Bombers.
We had a bowling team too, and you took the bus. You took the bus down the street to the bowling alley. It was awesome.
But so Bebe Neuwirth then. And that's the thing is like Robert Patrick becomes weirdly rapey for some reason. He's like, well, hello there. And it's I don't know. Aren't there better ways to like assimilate people? Wouldn't you be like, oh, hey, I
need my pencil. Have you seen my pen?
Exactly. Wouldn't you be like, oh, I have a budgetary question. If you have 2 seconds, if you just come right in here.
Alien,
you know what I mean?
Alien don't know budget. It knows pencil though.
I need my pencil sharpened.
What you have to do is act sinister.
Yes.
And they'll just fall into your lap.
Well, I mean, you're right, Steve. He's being a bit too pushy if he's trying to like secretly assimilate to people to make them aliens like him, or plant these bugs in their ears.
Puts a pencil through her hand. He goes, I wish wanted to do that. Robert Patrick is great in this movie. He's just fun to watch.
He really is.
He's good.
It's totally delightful.
And he disappears in the third act, and it's like he's the heavy. He needs to not be. Maybe he's not the queen or whatever. That's a big twist. But he needs a death. He needs a cool death.
Steve, you're being so unfair. We get to see Salma Hayek close a door. We get to see people at a water fountain.
Yep.
These are exciting and thrilling things.
It's a privilege to see Salma Hayek close a door.
It is, isn't it?
I love it. Yeah.
It is fantastic.
Highlight
Not since
of the
30
movie.
Rock.
He chases around the school, and then wouldn't you know it, when Piper Laurie, who like seems to be on her side, stabs her like 1,000,000 times.
Which was this part was cool, and this like you truly did not need Robert Patrick on that football field. Like, just start it.
Yes.
It's a dark and stormy night at this rundown, shitty ass high school. We're having this budget meeting. That it is weird that it's just 3 teachers like talking about all this, and not like
John Stewart,
the rest of the staff. Yeah,
I mean, that's like what I don't like about from the beginning. I know I didn't like this because you're not brought in. You're not. It's just. I mean, they sledgehammer you getting the Robert Patrick thing in so that you're not a dum-dum who doesn't understand what's happening. No, but like, why not go into the school and like watch all of them like getting ready for the meeting, and you get a moment with these people before they inevitably turn into like the weirdo fucking alien things.
Did everyone get the Bebe Neuwirth theater department joke here? That I think is actually pretty clever.
I didn't get it.
So she says, because so Von Bargen wants to take a field trip to New York City. This is set in Ohio, so she's like, putting the kibosh on that. And then Piper Laurie's like, oh, well, the kids want to do the whatever musical. And she's like, oh, we don't have, money for that. Have them use the set from last year's production of Our Town. Our Town doesn't have sets. That's the whole point of the show. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, because they're trying to do Guys and Dolls, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah,
And
we don't have
she's
budget for
singing
that.
some song.
Chris, in this scene, you do get a little of that. You establish some of these teachers before they're assimilated. Van Bargen, great beleaguered man, putting whiskey in his coffee.
Oh, yeah, dude. Just drinking it, booze in the coffee cup. Absolutely.
He got that 1,000-yard stare. He was a king of the 1,000-yard stare.
He's great.
Yep. Oh, man. Rest in peace.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Piper Laurie also going fucking stabbed crazy, though, is totally great. Real, like, reminder, like, she was fucking terrifying in Carrie, speaking of De Palma, you know, so, like, that's pretty cool. And then again, she kind of doesn't have much all to do.
No.
Well, she becomes like the number 2. Like, her and Robert Patrick are like the 1-2, like going through the school, looking at each other, making sure they're doing stuff.
It's just too many characters on both sides. If it was just a menacing principal and gym coach, we can focus on something.
Some sense of hierarchy, because the other thing is they're adding in like a mystery. Who's the lead alien?
Yes.
Right.
So like you can't like what would be interesting is if like Piper Laurie has to be like, I told you to do this. You're in charge of this.
Yes.
And like, there's a clear hierarchy of who is supposed to be doing what. And that's how they discuss things. But it's just like menacing, like twinkles in their eyes.
Well, it's unfortunate because I feel part of that too. They can't do it as well because, spoiler alert for the end of this movie, like the queen is one of the teenagers and not one of the titular faculty.
Interesting.
Which is also
call it the faculty.
Yeah,
You should probably not do
Just
that.
call it school.
kids.
school kids.
School kids.
Well, because that's what happens in the movie. Like now, it's very weird to your point, Chris, in sort of in terms of a sloppy beginning, which it certainly does have. Because
Slop it up.
now all these kids are coming into
Sweat.
school and like we're meeting them and they have title cards and I'm like,
Oh,
it's
God.
9 minutes in. What are these title cards?
Wow, great point, dude. I hadn't thought about it, but way too late for character title card introductions.
Casey, Zeke.
If you're going to do that, go the Shaw Brothers Golden Harvest way. Put the actors and the characters, like Josh Hartnett
Sure.
as Zeke.
Sure.
Just do an opening title
Yeah,
sequence, basically. Yeah.
Right, exactly. But to Steve's point, 10 minutes into the movie,
dumb.
you're totally fucked to do that. But also, I feel like that also tells me, after, watching the movie specifically and really trying to, as like I take notes, not use the actor names and use the character names. These are bad, unmemorable character names. Like, Scream didn't have to do this. There's no fucking Nev Campbell, Sydney. You know what I mean? There's not that. But like, you definitely need it for fucking, what's her face from Fast and Furious? Delilah. Yeah, Jordana Brewster.
Yeah.
Delilah. Josh Hartnett. Zeke.
Stokely.
Yeah, what is that? And then Delilah is also a weird name. And also her last name is Prophet.
Prophet. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Okay.
Delilah Prophet. Okay, so she's going to be seduced by James Bond and then die in about 15 years.
I thought it
you-
kind
you-
of sounded like a
You're gonna
those
get an F this time, Delilah Prophet. This is Jordana Brewster's film debut. That character was written for Charisma Carpenter, and you can tell because it's exactly the same. And she actually turned it down because she's like, "Oh, it's too close to my character in Buffy." Cordelia, sorry everybody that hasn't watched that, but she turned it down. I was like, "Oh, it's the exact," and it is pretty much the exact same.
It totally
character.
is. Apparently, also though, Sarah Michelle turned down a role,
Yeah.
and like, which one you think? The Queen,
Probably Queen, right?
Probably Queen would be well because that was
Mary Beth, or whatever that character is.
Mary
Beth,
Which is also like the worst character that has no fucking point other than to be the twist at the end.
And she's like not. I mean, this actress, I don't have her in front of me. The only other thing I've ever seen her in is Suicide Kings, which
Ooh,
no
boy.
thanks.
Ooh.
No thanks. Stay tuned, Suicide Kings.
It's been a while.
It's been a long
Was that a
time.
movie you had on DVD?
No, but I definitely taped the fuck out. That was
Yeah.
one of my Tarantino knockoff favorites. I like slept with that under my pillow for a year because I loved it so much because I was such a stupid
what was that?
baby.
That's Jay Moore.
It's Jay
Dennis
Moore.
Walken.
Leary? Is Dennis Leary? in that
Dennis
movie?
Leary's
Yeah.
in it. Sean Patrick Flannery.
Yeah.
Henry Thomas, right? He's the guy from E.T. that now is an
Yes.
actor.
Yep.
And then Walken is the guy, right?
What's his face from Big Bang Theory and Roseanne? Johnny Galecki is big in that movie.
Wow, Johnny Galecki. Are
Yeah.
you get to? Is Piven floating around that movie?
He is not, shockingly.
Yeah, that seems like Piven would have been right at home. in
Jeremy
Suicide
Sisto,
Kings.
I think, fills that role quite well.
Oh,
Don't worry, dude. I've seen the movie Suicide Kings.
Wow.
can you do it all from memory? Can you just go through it?
And we have this is the other dude from The Postman, Shawn Hatosy as Stan.
Stan.
So you got Delilah Stokely, who I guess was named after Stokely Carmichael, maybe. I don't know.
Sure.
Or is that going by last name?
Yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
because she's Stokely something or other.
Yeah, I never.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's Stokely. I believe in the credits, it's Stokely Stokes something.
Oh
And
yeah.
she's also an obnoxious character, the quasi goth type of thing.
Yeah.
The goth girl who is, and also it's okay for characters to get their just desserts. Delilah, who is viciously homophobic this entire movie,
Yep.
could just die on the bus.
No,
You know what I mean? Like,
no. Everyone's got to come back and be good again.
and then everyone's gonna kiss each other at the end. Oh, I like you now.
See, the problem was that she wasn't dating Elijah Wood. If she
That's
dated
right. She would be
Elijah
less-
Wood, she wouldn't have done that. She wouldn't be a bigot.
But to the Breakfast Club point, though, she's not the goth. She's the outcast.
Yes.
Because you have the outcast,
She's
the
the
princess,
outcast.
Yeah.
She's
the
the
jock,
outcast
the
that-
criminal.
She wears all black until the end of the movie, where she can be a regular person. Thank
It's
God.
She was
Super
cured.
It's so weird, and she starts dating Stan? Or
Yeah,
whatever?
because in the movie she's what do you call her? Jordana Brewster calls her lesbian a couple times. She says that she fuels her own rumor that she is a lesbian, so people will steer clear of her.
Right.
And then at the end, and like she's goth. She's wearing if at the end of the movie she was just making out with Stan in the same goth attire, that would make so much
Dude,
sense.
she looks way better in all the black clothes than she does in whatever fucking Bargen Bing Old Navy Tommy Hilfiger shit that they have. That's the other thing. Tommy Hilfiger had money in this because they're all wearing Tommy Hilfiger clothes. You cannot escape that logo in this
it's
movie.
everywhere.
And with the goth thing, it's like if she changed her clothes because she's now experienced death a lot or whatever, and has grown as a character, you got to settle on a protagonist to do that. You can't just have that happen.
That's true. The movie kind of decides in the last 7 minutes that Elijah Wood's the main character.
Yeah.
Way too long to figure out your protagonist screenplay.
As
Just throwing that out
Casey, who gets his balls fucked up. at
Oh,
the
I
start.
do. It's some serious ball trauma.
Brutal.
This kid is not going to school today. It's really Casey had to go to the hospital. He's
Dude,
not in
that
the movie.
kid ain't going to shoot straight for 15 years.
Because they grab him and it's tiny Elijah.
He's got to aim offset it because the sight is
Yeah,
bent.
the sight on my gun's fucked up.
I gotta bank it off of the faucet, and then it will hit the toilet.
David Krumholtz did you a little painting. Now, this is where you should aim. It looks like it's going to shoot well out of the perimeter, but it will get directly in there.
I would love it if that's what the aliens won't they're about to so and they go back because they realize his dick is just mashed into goop.
Yeah, oh, his nuts are broken.
Because they grab tiny Elijah Wood, 4 big burly dudes, and grab and run him through a flagpole. And I mean run him through.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
He also, the indignity that this kid suffers because that's not the first we see of him. It happens seconds later.
Yes.
After his debut, he gets off the school bus another day, and it's whoosh, Casey, and then he's immediately punched in the face.
Yeah. And I guess he just has that. Bebe Neuwirth. She's the principal.
Sure.
I am
Alien principal.
I am kind of on the alien side on this because she is her administration has fucked this good.
Yeah.
They're allowing this just they're carrying him like a battering ram.
Yeah,
yep.
And just slamming his nuts into the pole. And she's just in there sipping her coffee anybody got their water?
It sounds realistic to me. Right?
This happened to you?
It didn't happen to me, but people got beat up all the fucking time in school.
But was it so theatrical is what I'm asking.
Nowadays it is. Now that they got guns and pyrotechnics. and
I just
stuff.
thought that was all on the internet.
Now it's a little much.
Sure.
There wasn't many. There were fights in my school. It's an all boys school, but one fight in particular. I don't know if I've ever talked about this.
Oh,
it was
shit.
2 fat kids.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay, which one was you?
no, not me. A fight. I was nowhere near it. Eric.
He's fucking King Coward. What are you
I
kidding me?
know. I
These
thought
two-
maybe there was a reason he became King Coward.
Oh, it's origin story.
These 2 kids went at it and started fighting each other, and the lunchroom was on a great big hill, and they started rolling down the hill while punching
That's
each other.
amazing.
It was incredible.
Ooh, I like
Yes,
that.
like Gandalf and the Balrog.
Exactly.
Did they start collecting things like Katamari Dasume? Did things just start but the playground set just
Oh,
kind of
God,
got
there's
wrapped?
a wheelbarrow stuck on my ass.
All right, 7 kids got grouped onto that. Oh boy.
Was there a clear winner?
Yes.
Was he the fatter or the slightly less fat?
He was actually the slightly less fat.
That makes sense.
Because the other fat kid really liked to talk a lot about how tough he was, and he really got put in his place.
Oh,
we had
nice.
2 really great fights that I can remember in high school. One, these 2 dudes were going at it, and one guy totally just fell down the stairs, which was
wow.
it was pretty great.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a big staircase.
Sure,
it
but
was
he was-
just enough that you were like,
He's just got some brain damage.
But then the other one, it's one of the craziest things I ever saw in high school. There was a fight in the cafeteria, real fucking slobber knocker, as J.R. Jim Ross would say.
Sure.
And then eventually it was one of the teachers came in and was trying to break it up. And this teacher, tall dude, who's an art teacher, big guy, I was like, all right, he'll settle this in no time. And the kids were down on the ground. This teacher gets down to get one of the kids. The kid stands up. So the teacher's like behind him, kid stands up, throws this guy who was like 4 times his size.
Wow.
Like, didn't launch him across the room, but like stood up with this guy on him and pushed him back a ways. And I was like, holy shit. That kid's wired. Like, whatever this fight was about, this kid was determined to continue the battle until there was a clear winner.
Maybe one of them was an alien, you know?
Honestly, super strength could have been, dude. I didn't think about that at the time. I hadn't seen The Faculty yet. I don't.
Real quick, there was one in my school where these kids were going at it really hard in the cafeteria. And one was the more aggressive one who eventually was pulled off. And this kid's just blood pouring down his face.
Wow.
Shit. And both of them. But this kid was the real aggressor. And today he's a police officer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you don't say.
Actually, one of the kids in my fight was a police officer as well.
How about that? Now they get paid for it. It's awesome.
When I can make money doing
Listen,
this.
you do what you love. You never work a day in your life.
But we meet Josh Hartnett and starts this film wearing no fewer than three shirts at once.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yep,
Yeah.
because you got the long sleeve t-shirt, you got the t-shirt over the long sleeve t-shirt, and then you got the button-down shirt over both of them, and the button-down shirt sleeves are rolled up so you can see that you're wearing a long sleeve t-shirt as well.
You might need another one. You never know.
And he's wearing that horrific haircut.
Which he said in interviews he was doing himself.
Yes, which almost caused him to get fired from both of these movies, this and Halloween H2O. I just like the idea of sort of that fucking haircut, get that kid out of here.
Damn it, he did it again.
Josh, we do have people to do this for. We have a whole department, in fact, hair and makeup it's called. Why don't you let them take a little look at it?
So that's the hot kid there. He's got a duck's ass on his head. That's what I'm paying for. That's the hot kid. Yeah, he's tall. Yeah, he's good looking. Why's he got a fucking duck's ass on his head?
I watched Jackass the other day, and they have this trick. They just come up behind somebody and buzz the hair right the fuck off. Do you think we could do that with him, the full thing? Just piecemeal, once a day. Then maybe we get a fucking...
Then it could be like American History X or something for a minute there.
I mean, honestly, though, good for him, man.
Yeah.
Like, not giving a shit, being like, look, my philosophy is this is how an aloof teenager would have his hair anyway, so deal with it.
Yeah.
I got a lot of respect for Josh Hartnett. He's really good in Oppenheimer.
He's really good in Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
There's a seance happening.
Oh, yeah.
Wrath of Man the other year. He was also good in.
I mean, he is also the thing that must be said about Oppenheimer. He is looking fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
The man has grown into it very well.
He looks better as an adult, I would say.
Absolutely.
But that's my opinion.
Well,
he should be the one fucking all the wives on the base, and Oppenheimer should be cleaning up the fucking the scraps.
That's actually true, dude.
Scraps. Whatever fucking drips out of the experimental lab, whatever escapes his clutches.
Exactly.
So Hartnett is like... He's like I guess he might be kind of, he's definitely rich because they talk about like his parents are off gallivanting across the world all the time.
This is a Dylan McKay backstory.
It's a Dylan McKay situation, except he's like making bogus drugs in his garage that we are calling and saying no fewer than 25 times scat. I just don't know, folks.
This movie goes up a star rating for me for the drug usage here.
Yeah, sure.
You would not see this today.
No.
You would not see the homemade drug apparatus.
I mean, also the gun that plays very prominently in the last act of this movie.
Yes.
If this was released 6 months later, that gun is out of the movie.
Not
folks.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, you are not wrong there.
Bob and Harvey got it in just in time.
It's not just the drugs, though. He's like Red in Shawshank Redemption. He's got like all what you need. He's got it. You need a porno with Jennifer Love Hewitt in it,
dude. What are those jokes about? I've got these like full frontal nudity videos of Nev Campbell and Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess because obviously it was the time of the internet. You could be like, hey, I got a cool picture of that.
The fakes. The fakes, absolutely.
But what is this tape going to be? I'm like, well, that isn't it. Oh, I'm still masturbating, clearly. But what the hell is this? I got hogwashed. I'm still masturbating now. But
we have to research. Do they have anything Mr. Skin worthy by this time?
No.
Because this is probably what this would be.
I don't believe so.
They were lock and key under the Fox Corporation. I mean, I think Wild Things is 99. And she doesn't even get naked in Wild Things. And,
she famously does not get naked. She has a 3-way in a fucking fucking gray tank top, which whatever.
And neither of
Andrew
them,
is not bitter about it. Remember, just keep in mind. he's not-
Andrew, you bought one of these tapes and got burned.
I think I may have complained about that on our fucking Wild Things episode.
But also, I mean, not to go down a notch, but I mean, we first meet him. He's selling drugs to Wiley Wiggins, if you could believe it.
Love that kid.
Which lets you know that this movie was filmed in Austin, Texas.
Absolutely. I don't think they let Wiley Wiggins out of the city limits, to be honest with you.
And I'm sorry, Alex Jones is in this film. And sexual predator Danny Masterson. You got sexual predator Danny Masterson,
Right.
sexual predator Harvey Weinstein, and you've got sexual predator Harry Knowles coming up.
Wow,
Dude.
do you think they
a real
traded
Can I say,
tips?
though,
Trinity.
A real suicide squad of sexual predators.
Here's the thing: Harry Knowles, sexual predator, sex pest, whatever. Those other two motherfuckers, convicted rapists.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's
So that's the court has weighed in on both them guys. Don't
Right.
worry about it.
So they
Yeah,
got
you have to beat Knowles first. He's the weaker of the three, and then you get to do battle with them.
Oh, it is.
Oh, God.
Because also apparently, like Harry Knowles is friends with Robert Rodriguez,
Yes.
or past tense, I would hope.
Yes.
sure,
I would
just
imagine.
being Austin fixtures. He
Big-
did all those marathons, and wasn't he
Oh,
like
right.
also help co-found Fantastic Fest?
And there
or
was a
something?
time
Yeah.
when you did have to sort of kiss that ring, which is a sad and weird
That
part
is
in American movies.
so fucking pathetic. If my God, Harry Knowles, even me as a shit ass dirt kid watching faculty movies, reading crap on the internet, he had the worst website. The worst film writing I've ever read in my goddamn life was
Yeah.
Ain't It Cool News.
Giggle.
I don't think I've ever read something in full on that site.
I could never get through it.
I had a
Wait,
period
you don't
of
like
time.
you don't like all bold, all capitalized, 20
Changing the font size in
Comic
every sentence.
Sans 20-inch font.
In bold and italics, just to say, rocks fucking ass.
Apparently, he started out doing box office stuff for the Drudge Report.
Oh, that
That's
tells
awesome.
you everything you need to know. Couple things though. One, that's why one of the only things I'll ever give Entourage credit for, when they parodied him with Rainn Wilson, it was fucking great.
Sure.
And really biting, and something I don't think that show ever really tried otherwise. Also, quick cue about the great city of Austin, Texas, where we filmed this movie.
Mhm.
And it's all about, Bebe Neuwirth says in the intro about like, well, that place is packed every Friday night, blah, blah, blah. You may say they come for the Friday night lights, all that shit. Why doesn't this movie just take place in Texas? Why is it Ohio? Who gives a shit?
I thank you. I had the same
It's
exact
completely
thought.
irrelevant.
It's completely irrelevant. It doesn't feel like Ohio at all. It feels
Yeah.
like fucking Texas. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yep.
and yeah, so like we meet our kids. They're, we're all kind of going through it, and we meet more of the faculty. We meet Salma Hayek, who is got a cold. That's something that she's doing. She's like a school nurse with a cold.
Right.
John Stewart acting with this goatee, ladies and gentlemen.
Dude, this goatee is a laugh riot, isn't it? Holy shit, it sucks. And I got no beef with John Stewart,
yeah, sure.
but like clearly the guy wasn't much of an actor. Rodriguez had seen him doing his old MTV John Stewart show, I think, and was like, this guy's interesting. Playing Professor Edward Furlong. Oh, sweet Jesus.
I don't
that's
know
dumb.
about that, but I guess that is part of the meta-ness of the script, I suppose.
I guess.
Sort of like in
Right.
Scream, you got carpenters and
Right,
whatever.
but then I think like, how many times are they actually doing it though?
yeah,
I don't really know.
once?
And
But
also-
also, like Edward Furlong.
Yes, exactly.
Really?
Of
That's
everything.
Professor
Yeah.
Cameron, Professor James Cameron. There you go.
That's much better. I mean, because we are doing a little bit of like Terminator, of course,
Yes.
and the presence of Robert Patrick only like heightens that. But yeah, you got to stick to the directors, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
Or it's just like
Anything.
Deborah Hill. You can throw her in there if you
Yeah,
like. to.
Carpenter. Yeah, Professor Carpenter. Because the thing is all over this movie.
Someone
sure
known
is.
for more than 2 movies. I would say that would be a good aiming point there.
Edward Furlong is known for many motion pictures.
Really? What's that?
Terminator 2,
Uh-huh.
Brain Scan,
Oh, yes. That's the one everybody knows.
The Crow Wicked Prayer.
Of course. Yes, of course.
All right,
These
we're,
big
getting, we're
movies.
getting to the weeds.
Pecker, of course.
Of
Obviously,
course,
gotta go for
yes.
Pecker.
The Green Hornet.
What was that one movie? Oh man, not Money Monster, but like Attack on Wall Street or some shit where like some meathead guy's the star of the movie, but Furlong's like his buddy, and they're like security guards, and like this dude's had enough. And
Wow.
I think it might be a Yuva Bowl movie.
Oh, even better.
That's right.
Assault on Wall Street.
It's a movie where, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but here's something.
Sure.
It's we're seeing the von Bargen. This is where we see him put the whiskey in. There's like a really bad line that Stewart gives, which is like, oh, you have your class in 5 minutes. Like, I'd rather have my pen in my eye. And it's like, I know, dude, it's going to happen in the movie. And you got like the nurse is like, Salma Hayek as the nurse is like treating Harry Knowles. You know that slimy fuck.
Hey, Robert, come here for a second. What if there was a scene where for some reason Salma had to touch me? Giggle.
Well, do you want the first movie at Fantastic Fest or don't you?
So we filmed that scene with Harry and Salma, and now she's only in the movie for 5 minutes. She's leaving.
You know,
She's leaving.
Robert, me and Salma, we could do an homage to the sex scene in Desperado. We could do it right here in the faculty room.
And as much as I like her, she doesn't need to be in this movie because this is a non-character that goes away.
She's so fun in the movie for 5 seconds.
Yeah,
I like her with a cold. It's funny.
It is really bizarre that maybe it was the thing where she's like, look, I'm friends with Robert. I'm just gonna pop in, do the movie for a little bit, but like I can't be in it a lot or something like that. I don't know what else. She was making a lot of bad movies in the late 90s.
My thigh is hurting me. Higher. Robert, Fantastic Fest is calling.
You don't want this movie to have a bad review, do you? Because I can bold the fuck out of some
Well,
fun.
listen, just don't let Harvey know that someone else is sexually harassing on set. That's his thing.
There's a piece of IMDb trivia which I'm sure is false, which is
It's good to bring it up.
I mean, like, because Harry Knowles was somewhat, at least, and he will tell you, is very instrumental in the Lord of the Rings kind of becoming the hype machine for the Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
And he apparently
This is horseshit.
Elijah Wood didn't want to read for Lord of the Rings, and then Harry Knowles went up to him and was like, "No, Elijah, you'd be great for it." Like, absolutely not.
Elijah Wood's looking at him like, "Who are you?"
There was a call out for 5'3" and under actors, and he got it, and that's how that shit works.
You know, I think it was on his Harry Knowles Wikipedia article under controversies that it was like once he was like, he said that like when he was 3 years old or something, the fucking cast and crew of Texas Chainsaw Massacre came to his birthday party, and Gunnar Hansen like dropped like fake limbs on shit on him. And apparently Gunnar Hansen's like, that never happened. The fuck is he talking
What am I
about?
going to a fat kid's birthday
So
party
I'm
for?
just he's a liar.
He's a liar and a weird fucking creep is what he is.
Totally.
Yes.
And at some point in this movie, he's fucking turned into an alien, and I don't
never
see
see
that.
it.
And I don't see him definitely needing to be fucking executed in some way in this movie. Like, that character's got to go.
There's a big ass football field. There's definitely a riding mower somewhere on the premises.
Oh, yeah.
How do we
Yep.
get rid of this big fat alien? I have a great idea.
Mhm.
Totally. Step on the gas, dude.
Yeah, hi, I am Robert Rodriguez. Hey, yeah, we wanted to do a scene getting him, he wanted to get the parasite in him and everything. He refused to get wet. He's got a thing. He doesn't like to get wet. It's something. Shit starts popping off his back, and then like there's little monsters everywhere.
I am the biggest gremlin. Giggle. Squeeze.
He
My
refuses-
baby Spike.
Refuses to get wet, and also never got anyone wet.
That's
You know what I'm
absolutely
saying?
true.
You know what
Also,
I'm saying?
we got Famke Janssen as Miss Burke, who's also in the teacher's lounge right
Yes.
here.
She's great in this movie. She's got like doing this double role thing where like clearly this is right after Goldeneye. So she's like, what if I'm not the crazy sex pot for a scene and a half, and then I become the crazy sex pot.
It is, but this is like Hall of Fame dumbass trope of trying to make a gorgeous woman ugly by putting glasses on her.
And she's like nervous and
Mhm.
stuff.
It's the 90s.
Oh man, it is so unfucking believable in this movie. Though.
It's bad. I
Yeah,
would still
yeah.
go far as it's bad. The Famke Janssen like being shy scene specifically. I was like, you didn't want to give it another go. I'm not usually that like brutal about shit like that, but I was like, what is this?
You know,
like,
let's backtrack on that clickety clack and try to tippity type something else there.
Even just to like, the whole point, it seems to be like, Josh Hartnett's really smart, you know.
Yeah,
I know he looks like he's just like one of the Dandy Warhols, but he's actually a very smart man.
Very specific band reference. No, but we're trying to echo some Halloween shit here because this is another like teens bored in a class and like Josh Hartnett, who you think is not paying attention to her at first, just like Laurie Strode in Halloween 78. And then like he comes out with this very eloquent answer. They're analyzing Robinson Crusoe or something. Like,
well, then he's like, oh, he's got calluses on his hands. And it's like, well, that's a jerk. Oh, that's so mean, Zeke. You should apply yourself. It's like, no, actually, there's loneliness and blah, blah, blah. So, calluses on his hands.
Aren't we characters? Isn't this nice what we're doing here?
It's like Zeke and Casey, make it just the two of them. They're friends.
Yep.
They're the character.
Buddy comedy kind of a thing.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's just too much.
It is.
I know way too much about Zeke.
And because we're not even done then, because the fucking movie then goes to focus on Stan and all of his miserabilia around being on the football team, and he doesn't want to do sports anymore. So we got to hear about this fucking sob story.
I guess because that's relatable to maybe a kid in the audience, and that's why it has to be in the movie.
Yeah,
I suppose. But like, none of this is really substantive because, again, as Eric's been pointing out, it's too much.
Yeah,
you're like if this is an ensemble piece, you have to have your ensemble together much earlier, and they have to be a unit much earlier.
But they can't have this laundry list of stuff like hanging off them because I'm sorry, the bucket is full.
Yeah,
you can't put any more water in this bucket.
And
man.
if you're doing that ensemble, you have to question. You have to debate who's an alien or not.
Yeah,
way more than just the one scene where we rip off the thing.
Yes.
And I know it's not rip off; it's a homage.
Oh, it's there's two homages that need to be,
I think that part's okay. We'll get to it when we get to it. But so Stan is done with football, and then this is Delilah coming in hot. This movie immediately does not want you to like this character because she's like, "Oh, what's that, Stan? You don't want to be on the football team anymore because you want to concentrate on academics? Hey, you dumb fuck.
Yeah.
Football scholarships are the only way you're going to get into college. You're so stupid. And I'm like,
she's got a point.
I was like, are these characters dating?
Yeah.
Like,
they are. Oh, yeah.
Wild. She's
hate sex.
Terrible character.
Yeah. I don't think they thought very much about like her character more than ever. More than any of the other characters think. It's very much like, what works for this scene?
Yes.
Not like consistent, not like this is supposed to be someone we follow. No, like, like she just changes her mind on things out of nowhere.
That's the problem. And none of the couples that are dating, you never feel like they are. Nothing feels lived in.
No,
these characters just it feels like they just showed up to set one day, and that's not a good thing.
Say your lines. Move on.
Yes.
And then you have these like sideline things that happen a couple times where there's some characters that like they give them these little quick moments only to show how they've changed later when they've become aliens. I'm specifically talking about this couple that's constantly fighting, and it's Summer Phoenix and I think maybe the guy from Scary Movie who plays Bobby.
It
who's
is
also
indeed.
in the Fokker movies. I believe he plays the brother. Of the
Oh
Fokker.
yes, you're totally right.
Joe Abrahams or something,
something like that.
Yeah, and like they're just like screaming at each other, and like the camera keeps like a scene will end, but the camera lingers to like hammer home these are the fighting kids.
Yeah, well, this is to underline like the overarching thing here is like, well, is uniformity good or bad?
Yes.
And like almost every other movie would be like, yes, uniformity is fucking bad.
Yeah.
Right.
But like everything before this also sucks. Like
Yes.
Robert Patrick is like, we're gonna fucking lose.
Yes.
And nobody wants to do the fucking school's about to fucking shut down.
Right.
Like nobody's getting to do what they want. They all hate each other. And like fucking Dale von Bargen is drinking like straight whiskey out of a mug in front of students.
Oh yeah, dude. He's like so wasted. He starts like, all right, now we're gonna go to chapter 3. And like Clea Duvall has to be like, we fucking read that last week or whatever. We're on chapter 4 now, you drunk. And he totally does a thing that he definitely did on Seinfeld, which is just whatever. He gives that Von Bargen whatever in this movie. It's mwah,
Well,
miss that guy.
Good delivery.
They even say like I think later on Jordana Brewster, who's the head cheerleader and the editor of.
Wait, she's the head cheerleader in this movie?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ!
And the editor of the paper.
bucket is full.
See, yeah, exactly. The bucket is full. Lean into one of those things and show me it.
But
Yeah.
sorry, the editor of the
But she
school
says
paper.
like, "Oh, we exposed Mr. Tate's alcoholism last year and nobody cared," which is kind of great.
It is kind of a funny line. I'll give it.
But yeah, so like things are going on, and Elijah Wood runs afoul of Robert Patrick on the football field and picks up a dead slug, which is sort of getting the ball rolling on the alien bit.
That's right. Yeah, I do love it's Elijah Wood having lunch alone, which is totally fine. What a nice day. You're out on the bleachers, out, in the beautiful Ohio
Sure.
sun.
Sunshine.
But he's just like very childishly drinking a juice box of apple juice.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm a baby.
Well, this
Dude,
is how
yeah.
your balls get annihilated, dude. You got to start drinking. If you want apple juice, it's got to be a fucking can. I'm
Otherwise, you're getting flagpole dick, dude. Sorry to tell you.
I'll have you know, Gerber's makes stuff for teenagers too. It's very delicious. It's
Well,
roasted carrot puree.
I'm sorry, Coach. I can't join the football team because my balls are sand now. Don't you understand?
There's that weird thing where he's like, he's like, I don't like to run unless I'm being chased. And Robert Patrick's just like, unless you're being chased, huh? Better save that for the end of the movie.
Oh, and also, by the way, I won't be doing it because I'll be out of the end of the movie.
Yeah, I won't be doing the
Yeah.
chase. I'll be sending someone to be chasing you, but just remember, you don't want to run unless you're being chased.
But just to remind you, I'm creepy. I'm into it. I'm into chasing you. I would be if I could chase you.
Right.
I would.
if I was allowed to be in the end of the movie, I'd be chasing you. But I'm just here to tell you, I would love to chase you.
Did you see me in Terminator 2? I can chase. I know how to chase.
I could chase walk.
I got that car. I nearly got the car. I nearly ran as fast as the car. How about that?
But so, yes, then Casey takes a little slug and we get to fucking Professor Furlong's science class, don't you know? And so this is the scene I remembered from the movie. All of this, for whatever reason, I didn't remember a ton of this movie. I remembered almost all of the stuff involving Jon Stewart.
Oh, me
which is
too,
his
yes.
two big scenes, which is this one, and then a little while later when he's hilariously, temporarily murdered. But we are putting this little horrible CGI little creature into the fish tank, and it's just all these actors looking at an empty fish tank. Oh, it's not great.
It's got little red strings coming out of it.
Yeah, little red string is kind of like a very large booger. Just like swimming.
But with
It's just-
sharp teeth, though. Too.
I get, but like it's really bad design. Like I like the bit. The queen is actually pretty well designed, I think. But like this, I was just like, get it off. Give me. I can't take looking at this fucking. Thank God they just like spit into people's ears after this, and that's the whole thing.
I like that just this thing starts moving, it gets bigger, it starts looking more dangerous, and Jon Stewart's like, let me go down there and squeeze it with my fingers.
Let me get my hand on in there,
And why are you doing that? I want to know what it feels like. Maybe no. Like maybe this is a national emergency now. It seems like that to me.
Yeah, we shouldn't play so fast and loose with what you're convinced is a newly discovered species.
What if it's a newly discovered poisonous species?
Yep, exactly.
I mean, you're named after the Pecker Boy. So just maybe cool it, Doc.
Yes, I was named after the Pecker Boy, you see?
And meanwhile, Robert Patrick, have you seen this science teacher? The Galleria. But so that's going on. Also, we're learning that Josh Hartnett is a genius. He's like, isn't it a blah blah? You know, he's just being a genius.
He's just a biology freak out of nowhere. All of a sudden starts using like science words you haven't heard him use in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Sure, that's Zeke for you,
Can I
dude.
take this? Hey, can I take this animal home to make drugs out of it?
Meanwhile, Mary Beth is like trying to become friends with Stokely. This is when we find out all about Stokely's like weird lesbian shield that she's been using, which kind of, it's something. It's
She's like reverse bearding herself, I think, sort of is whatever. I mean, okay.
Yeah.
It's all not great. How about that?
That was my response. Okay.
And
Dude, there is a thing. I got to tell you. So another thing about this movie, and Kev Williamson loved the guy. A lot of these like student insults that we're slinging back and forth to each other are not great, especially here where Clea Duvall, they're all like crowding around the tank, I think it is. She calls Usher a blood fart.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I'm just like, I just don't know about these insult screenplay. I really don't.
Blood Fart doesn't have it.
No.
It really doesn't.
I wanted to have it. I love the idea of farting blood, but
You know what else I love, Eric?
yeah.
The idea of Usher being a character in this movie, which the poster 1,000% wanted you to believe because he's on the poster and this poor bastard that plays Stan is not.
Well,
I
they
guess
cut out the other black character completely, and now they cut probably half of his role out.
Yeah,
as
I'm
well.
sure they do.
I mean, he's just non-existent. And it seems as if the script originally had him be like Stan's direct foil because Usher is turned into an alien like very early on in the movie. So it's like, you know, Usher's character v Stan, that could have been something, but he's just not around.
But that's also too much. What we're really doing is making a mini series into a movie.
Right. Dude, this could be like a 4-part thing on Hulu or something.
Stan takes a shower after gym class, and this is when the old teacher like starts to peel. This is kind of some fun like body horror stuff.
Yes, this is
the only time it happens in the movie.
Kind of like The Shining in room 217 or whatever.
Yes.
This old lady walks in and is deteriorating to the point where her scalp falls off her head. And then we smash cut to like the principal's office. Oh, no, it's just cancer. Yeah, it does that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Mrs. Brummel was diagnosed with cancer and she's really old, so she's not responding to the treatment.
Cancer isn't the wrong cup from Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade. What is happening to me?
It's that ever rare super cancer that you've heard of.
You see, Mrs. Brummel contracted the flesh-eating virus. Like, that makes more sense. Her fucking head falls off almost.
Because she like falls down, and then something Casey and Delilah are looking in the faculty just for a story in general, kind of like there's no real reason for them to be in this room.
No, nothing has motivated them other than we need a story, so we're going to sift through teachers' personal property and see if we can find some dirt on these people.
But like, of course, I mean, in the screenplay, this is to get them flirty. This is to start up the flirtation so that the ending, which makes no sense, makes sense.
Yeah, sure, yeah. But then what's that? People are coming. Better get into the closet and hide from Michael Myers. I mean, the faculty.
Dude, and it's even, how about this, dude? That's so great that you said Michael Myers because the door is that slatted wood. Come on, everybody. It's either science fiction or horror films.
Exactly. It's sci-fi or horror. You never want to pick. Well, and that's the thing is they need to do, if they went more sci-fi, they would probably have to do more than just Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Like, is there a robot? Is there a ship?
They're doing they're really doing a smorgasbord. They're also doing Invaders from Mars. Is heavy duty in this.
Sure.
But yeah, like it's just, I mean, spoiler alert, it's Salma Hayek is brought in, the nurse. Yeah. They spit in her ear and she turns into an alien person.
Harry Knowles is like,
hey, Robert, just a quick thing. I know that it's Robert Patrick that's going to get to do this part to Salma, but here's an idea. What if it was Mr. Knowles' character that did it? What about that?
Okay, you're not buying it. Okay, how about just for the close-up, I'll be the spitter. You don't have to know I'm even there, but I'll be spitting on
you. Know what? I just want to remind you who controls the comment boards on Ain't It Cool News. You scratch my back, Robert. You find a way to scratch my back, Robert, and I will scratch yours.
2 words, hotshot. Bolded font.
All right, God damn it. I'm just going to get Manola Dargis to do this. Jesus H. Christ.
I like when Robert Patrick and I almost said Swoozy Kurtz.
Piper
Laurie come into the faculty lounge and they start immediately just douching themselves with water because that's like the aliens' whole thing is like being in human bodies dehydrates the body, so they have to keep hydrating. And it's just Robert Patrick like, just like dumping water all over himself.
It's pretty good.
I just think like they should have those. There should be more weird stuff with water. I think like they're just randomly in the pool. Like they want to do class in
the
pools.
body horror stuff needs to get pushed.
Yeah,
you know, if you're gonna do
more.
because I mean, like I do like the old lady in the thing. I think that there's a cool part when Robert Patrick is just standing in the football field getting doused with water.
That's probably the coolest shot.
And he's got alien face like really hard. Like we could do more of.
We could do more. There is some, like the little eeriness with the water when Mr. Kruger, what was his again?
Daniel Von Bargen.
He's watching the coach drink water constantly. He's like, must be a pre-game ritual.
Yeah.
You know what we didn't need here though, because it takes him from like sympathetic nerd to creep when they're in this closet and they're both looking like, oh, what are these? What's the faculty doing? They're being very weird out there. This faculty of ours. Elijah Wood's character definitely gets a hair sniff in on Jordana.
Oh, does he
Brewster.
really?
Absolutely, dude. It's a close up on both of them, and he's behind her, and he's just like, oh.
He wasn't going to, but then Harry Knowles approached him and said, listen, you should go for the hair sniff. Do your tape for Lord of the Rings.
I do it all the time to ladies, all right? You get a quick sniff in and they go, what was that? And then you go, nothing, giggle.
And you slip her $100 and then you give your buddy Harry a good description.
Tell me what she smells like.
I would love that.
Elijah, do you want to raid my swag closet? Tell me what she smells like. I got a bunch of swag.
Oh my God. Imagine the smell in that closet.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, just fucking BO and promotional t-shirts.
These-
Yeah, I know the Avengers movie tanked, but I got a bunch of T-shirts of it.
These are Harry Knowles personalized official sweat swappers. And then you just put it in, and then if you want to give it to somebody, you give it to somebody.
Sweat swap.
Because you know everybody. What would you pay to have Robert Downey Jr. sweat in your own hand?
So the old lady's body is also in this closet, and it kind of falls out at an inopportune time.
We get a total scream. I mean, like, there's so much, like, and that's the problem with Kevin Williamson at this point. Is it's just weird because Scream was such a huge hit, and then I think he did rewrites on H2O as well. He did this, like, his stink was all over this company, as well as Marco Beltrami's was all over this movie.
There is music from this movie that is just straight up in Halloween H2O.
It's the same fucking thing. And like, they're in a closet, and he what do you call it there? Robert Patrick's about to get them, and wouldn't you know it, he gets stabbed with a fucking umbrella, not unlike the fucking end of goddamn Scream.
Oh wow, man!
And then they get away, and then the cops come, and this is to your point, Eric. The uneven seesaw of the Breakfast Club. You know what I mean? Like, we're all in there together.
Yeah.
Who has a scene? You know, Bender has more stuff because he's a sexy lead, but not much. This, we get Elijah Wood's parents. We go back to his house for a while, and it's the great Chris McDonald, so no complaints here.
Which is great, but that you've decided on a main character, let's stick to it.
Exactly. That it's the Casey movie, and that's okay.
Right.
But just make it the Casey movie, because it's your classic. Oh, the cops come, nothing is wrong. I think the one of the cops is the other guy, the cameraman from Scream 2. Yes.
Oh wow, yeah, good call.
All our buds are here, and just sort of like. I think like Bebe Neuwirth's like, oh, maybe, kids have crazy imaginations. Look at this she's CPR
like,
doll.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's Sally CPR. This is what we use to teach the kids chest compressions. You silly little wieners. It was just a dummy.
I guess he was just being a dumb baby that was scared of everything.
Oh my God! Is that smell from the? Oh my God! What is that from the doll?
Yeah, she smells like a dead body. Uh-huh.
We also had Teacher Knowles in here earlier, so that might be some residual.
Hey Robert, when that CPR doll is done, where's that going to go? Is that going to just go to the scrap heap? Because I see a mouth and
you take it and it's just, I'll put a little wig on there and all of a sudden it's CPR Salma.
Robert, do your buddy Harry a favor here. Give Salma one of my sweat swappers. See if she uses it. She might use it. You don't know. And then I'll have the gold.
Sweat swap.
¿Cómo se dice sweat swapper?
You see, it's a pad I made with my buddy who lives in my garage.
Yeah, that's the important part. He made it himself. Absolutely. But yeah, so it is the whole, like, now the parents, Chris McDonald's like, are you on drugs?
Yes.
Are you doing drugs?
And this is a great moment. He's like, all right, take away the phone, take away the modem. That took me back. I liked seeing that.
He grabs the big modem. He does say internet, though.
Yeah.
There's no internet. And I was like, ooh, that's weird.
Chris McDonald's chomping in this scene, and I'm fucking here for it.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm hearing. I'm like, oh, is this the rest of the movie? Come on, baby.
Yes,
come on.
he never
He's a
comes
part
back.
of the lead. Let's go, please.
Because again, if this is a movie that makes sense, of course the parents would be next. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's everybody but the kids because the kids can't trust the adults because that's an actual analogy that makes any sense and works.
And that's the annoying part, right? Is like while the movie is happening, there's also this other much bigger movie where the entire town is being like turned because like Bebe Neuwirth gets the cop right here. So the dude, this Officer Marshall, whatever, the dude from Scream 2, comes out and he's like eyeing Elijah Wood, you know. So like that's going on. So like it's happening to the town, and you need that thing where it's like then it's like knock knock, Officer Marshall on the door. Christopher McDonald answers like, "Oh, officer, what can I do for you?" "Oh, there's been a development. If I may come inside and talk to you." Like you have to have that stuff happen. Also, very embarrassing. Yeah, no internet, so no reading any cool news for you, buddy. But then he's like, and also, what you take away is porno. And the mom is like, "Oh, yes, the porno." And grabs his dude, Elijah Wood getting a copy of Boob magazine. Pretty great.
Well, I'd thumb through that periodical if I had it available.
I just love when you have fake porno mags. It's like, we're not going to pay for Penthouse. We're not going to pay for Playboy. But you got to do better than Boob magazine.
Taking your copies of Boob, Ass, and Thigh.
Not thigh! Not thigh!
Yeah, I know. You love that one. Oh, God, it's all crinkly.
Gonna have to have David Krumholtz paint you some pornographic pictures instead. No more magazines for you. So we get
So here's a question.
Yeah, all right.
So do you think Andrew Keegan went up to Krumholtz like, "I got this big scene, but I don't know what it is"? Or is it a thing where like he's doing it wrong 3 or 4 times and Krumholtz like, "Give me that," and like, "Stop, this goes here, that goes there."
You are all over the map.
Wait.
What is this?
What are you drawing there? Is that a cucumber? That's your penis is green.
But do you see this in the movie?
I
I
don't
don't
seen 10
remember.
Things Ahead About You in a long
I
time.
really don't
You
remember.
know whose penis is green? Film critic Hulk.
Smash.
What a
You know whose
genius.
penis is green? Film critic Harry Knowles.
Yeah, gang.
With jealousy.
Gang green.
Elijah Wood, multiple times in this movie, is throwing out the titular line.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, you can't have the same kid doing it.
Yes.
And one of it's right here because like he's in his room and it's just like, harumph, well, I'm going to sneak out and continue investigating. And he opens the window. And this shit comes to nothing too.
Sure does.
Like, open the window and the 3 faculty members are outside and like he falls like off the roof or whatever. And they're looking at him and McDonald comes out and he's like, "No, Dad, look, they're here. It's the faculty." It's like, you are directing scenes for trailers and it's really obnoxious. And okay, I get that they're aliens and who knows what these powers are, I guess, but like, how are these guys disappearing like ghosts out of nowhere?
Yeah,
like, it'd just be like Von Bargen jogging down the street or something.
Well, there's another scene where he just seems to be driving around neighborhoods waiting to pick somebody up.
Well, they're setting up. Actually, it's very smart that they disappear immediately. They're setting up. They all disappear in the third act. Every last one of the faculty disappears in the third act. So like the next day, this is when like things start to get more intense. We're calling people into the principal's office one by one and infecting them, and like that's kind of really systematically a thing.
It very much reminded me of that great Treehouse of Horror sketch where they're eating the kids and it's like, detention. Yeah, they're all getting called in and it's like, oh yes, Nurse Salma Hayek the alien is doing ear exams.
Yeah, you know, I wish I knew like an end point, like eating them. Like that's something.
Right.
Yeah.
This is like, I guess, the slow assimilation, I guess, eventually of the entire planet.
Well, that's the weird thing, right? Is like, what a surprise when this Mary Beth character is like giving her big parlor scene at the end as the queen alien.
Right.
It's just a weird, she's like, my planet was dying, so I came here and I want to make you like my people to some it's really
I have
like
to go now. My planet needs
right.
me.
No, it doesn't, it can't pick a lane. It can't pick what to do.
And also, don't explain. You're way better off not explaining.
No.
Like, I mean, the thing doesn't explain a goddamn thing. You know what I mean? Like, just don't explain. Like, if she's just like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
I'd have preferred to screech.
Yeah.
The monster screeches, that's your explanation.
Although when she does reveal that she's the queen, I do like the shadow tentacle thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a pretty neat effect, but I think it's a thing where like, you know,
And the nudity.
and then
It's a pretty neat effect.
no, but it's like when she's doing that and everything, like once she turns into the monster, it should be the one and done and she's just the monster the whole time.
Yeah.
But the fact that she goes back, yes, that's how we get the nudity, I guess. But like, then she's just talking again, and I'm like, now you're not menacing. I'm sorry,
No.
like
No, it's
this
not.
girl, I'm sure was very nice, but she does not have the juice whatsoever.
No, she's not. I mean, she was in Suicide King. That's all you need to know.
So we see, the kids are all starting to get suspicious now, and they're starting to realize something's up, and the teachers are acting funny. Also, not just the ear exams, but we are seeing Christopher McDonald drops Elijah Wood off at school, and in the background there's a huge water truck that pulls up like a Poland Spring kind of office cooler supply truck, and we get a look into this fucking teacher's lounge, and it's where the ear exams are happening, but also Harry Knowles lugging jugs of water cooler water. Oh man,
the only jugs he was allowed to consensually touch.
Oh, excellent.
Hey, Salma, this doing anything for you? I could move this water around.
Oh, that must have been 500 pounds.
Wow, I'm getting such a workout, Salma.
Oh, I'm gonna need I'm gonna need a bicep massage later.
Salma, I've seen your Desperado scene 491 times.
You want to act it out for 492?
Oh, I'm worried we're going to get some backlash from the Knoll heads.
Oh, man. They're still out there. They're like the Knights of Ren. They've been banished to the fucking far moons, dude.
Yeah, they're gone forever. They'll show up for 5 seconds and be easily dispatched.
Something. Yeah. I think Zeke starts flirting with Mary Beth here. They kind of make out for a hot second.
A little bit of kiss in there, not too shabby. We get a thing where it's the aliens, they know that for whatever reason, Zeke's drugs can hurt them. So you have this thing where Wiley Wiggins and convicted rapist Danny Masterson are going up to him hey, man, you got any more scat? And he's like, yeah, here you go. And he's like, oh, cool. You got any more scat? And he's like, wow, you guys really like to party. And gives him more. And then they're like, but what about some more? They're trying to shake him down and get all of it. And he's like, why don't you just use what I gave you and then come back or whatever?
And so are they now the aliens that are like,
yes,
give me your
so we can
gun.
dump it.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Give me your weapon.
This is when Famke Janssen gets turned, and she goes up to Zeke and she says, if I see you doing this again, I'm going to stick my foot so far up your ass, you'll be sucking my toes till graduation. To which Quentin Tarantino said, ha!
Hey, Robert, just watching The Faculty, man. I got to tell you, that toe line, man, I had to pause it.
Did that ever happen for real? Could you tell me about it?
Hey, Kevin, I know you do a lot of research for your movies. Did that ever happen for real?
I mean, look,
you got any pics?
There are worse ways to go.
Sure.
Than having Famke Janssen's toes in your mouth.
Sure.
Through your ass.
Through your ass.
It's working its way up the ass through the mouth. Really.
She also calls him a great big bastard mistake. She lays into this.
It's actually really good.
And she's like, oh, where is your mother? Europe? Who gives a fuck? And it's like, oh, wow.
She says something like, is this real, or is it another one of your dickless drug-induced hallucinations?
Miss, I'm hard as a rock right now. I can't continue school. I'm sorry.
You keep yelling all these insults at me, and my dick gets harder, and I think it's gonna pop off. You gotta stop talking to me.
I have to go to the hospital. Is there a hospital just for hard-ons? Because you should bring me to that one, because this is a problem now.
Yep. Welcome to Hard On Hospital.
Got another gusher.
Oh man. We only treat one thing here at Hard On Hospital. It's migraines.
It's really just a room where we tell you to masturbate. And get,
Yeah. Oh, come on in. Yep. Oh, painful hard on. Go jerk off. Next.
It's still hard, huh? Well, try again.
This is your fifth time back here in a week. I'm going to say now you're jerking off too much. You got to go to the other way. Yeah. Stop touching it for a week. See what happens. This is where we get basically the faculty equivalent of the very famous Scream video store scene.
Yes.
More or less, because we've got Stokely here and Casey. And the thing too is it's not just movies, which is interesting because we're told that Stokely's a big reader of science fiction novels.
Robert
so she's talking about Heinlein, of course.
Puppet Masters.
Yes. Yeah. And so this is our big oh, what if I wanted them to be like, oh, by the way, before we started this conversation, the two of us smoked the biggest blunt in the world, because it is the highest fucking conversation where he's like, what if the X-Files was right the whole time? Really high thing to say.
Sure.
And then they start talking about, oh, what if aliens have been here the whole time and they were the ones that created the science fiction work so that when they did finally invade, no one would believe them, because no one believes people in these science fiction stories. It is the highest conversation.
It is, and there's also a line that's like, "Well, oh, Invasion Body Snatchers is a book. It's in fictional, dumbass, or whatever." Yeah, so's Schindler's List. And
Yeah, I
I'm
was like, all right, I guess.
is it?
I mean, I don't know.
Is that you filing that under fiction?
I didn't know.
I mean, it is Ohio and/or Texas, so
Yeah, I don't know what the curriculum says over there.
There is a great super dated line where I think it's Elijah Wood is like, so what? All these directors, Lucas, Spielberg, Sonnenfeld. He goes,
I rewound it. I was like, Seinfeld? What the fuck did they
He's
say?
like, what? Lucas, Spielberg, Sonnenfeld, Emmerich, all these guys, and I'm like,
Emmerich.
we're just dropping Emmerich, by the way.
Yeah, no thanks. And also, that sound, dude, we're making multiple Men in Black.
We're
references.
talking, yes.
You wouldn't believe it to watch this movie and Men in Black was the biggest movie in the world when this movie was written.
Men in Black, interesting is how it's funny and entertaining.
Contained character-wise,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
a lot of people to juggle.
Two leads,
Yep.
not 7.
Well, it's well made, so clearly extraterrestrial life.
They're just laying the groundwork. It was all astroturfing.
They all go into the science lab because they want to look at Elijah Wood's specimen to see how it's changed. And wouldn't you know it, Jon Stewart shows up. And it's amazing. Like, Jon Stewart, really quickly, he locks the door and he's like, this is not happening. And then, like, I think maybe Elijah Wood tries to grab him and he throws him.
Yes, he does.
And I mean immediately. Josh Hartnett has said time and time again he doesn't believe in this alien thing. But immediately, all Jon Stewart does is shove Elijah Wood. He grabs this fucking paper cutter like a machete, like he's about to murder this dude. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Dude, I think it's the fucking scat talking, man.
Yeah,
You never know what that stuff's going to do to you. It is
fucking
wild.
dude, I'm going to fucking cut this guy's head off.
There's so much weird shit going on in this scene, because when it starts, he's like, this is how I make my drugs. I steal shit from school, all the chemicals, whatever. And this kid, around who knows what fucking Bunsen burner gas lines and chemical fucking compounds and whatever else, just smoking a bogue, just lighting up in this science lab. Dude, you are asking for it.
I mean, if you're in the middle of an alien invasion, I start doing it.
But he cuts Stewart's fingers off.
And then they
really
go all-
bad.
They
Really bad
They
effect.
travel around the room faster than Harry Knowles' fingers at a film screening, if you know what I'm saying.
I do know what
Yeah.
you're saying.
I put it together.
Yeah,
I
he
did.
grabs
Yeah, these
people.
CGI little creepy crawly gropers happening here.
and
That's
Don't
what
worry.
I call them, two gropers.
And don't worry, in a minute we're gonna have an homage to The Thing.
Oh,
Okay.
we sure are.
But this whole thing with Stewart, this is the scene that I remember, because yes, he gets a pen full of scat, because that is the scat delivery system.
Yes.
Is a little Bic pen that doesn't have the ink tube in it. It's just got scat. And man, Hartnett jams it into this dude's eyeball, and Stewart goes down for the count. Pretty wild shit. This is nothing like his Big Daddy character.
And it's a good practical effect too. Like you see, like it's him. It's just like a thing on his
It
eye.
looks pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah, it
when
does.
they go back over to the body and it's just like dead, and it's
And then he turns into TV static and melts.
It is kind of TV. It's like little white noise. It's kind of frustrating though, right? Because like the movie is telling you, like, yeah, we did have the effects department to do some stuff.
Yes.
And like you could do, the alien in a way where it's the xenomorph was a guy in a suit. Like
Sure.
you could do it, but you think that like bigger is better, and if it's just a big giant thing out of fucking Mimic or whatever, you know what I mean?
It's bad CGI.
Yeah.
The
Another
bad
movie
CGI,
I butchered.
the bad CGI really hurts this movie. Like the fingers look
It
bad.
takes you out of it so immediately.
I think around here we got another Von Bargen scene, which is amazing, when he's telling all the kids to write down the list of all their living relatives.
Our history project. Write down everybody. First, of course, starting with your immediate family, and then every living relative you can think of.
Is this going to be on the test? This is the test.
Yes.
Like, okay.
It comes to nothing, but I like it.
But dude, but this is all that missed opportunity shit again for a movie that you have indeed titled The Faculty.
Exactly.
Yes.
I need to see at least a fucking nefarious janitor as well.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, crazy that there's no janitors in this movie.
Right.
But like, imagine you had a thing where like Von Bargen's going around with that list, like, oh, hello, Mrs. Anderson. You're the aunt of Clea Duvall's character. May I come in for a moment?
Exactly.
That would be great.
Because otherwise, that shit is like, I mean, you get why he's doing it, but like,
Right.
I need to see that executed.
Or you have Christopher McDonald, have a scene with the two of them, like he's just at the house.
I
one
think
night.
there is a little a glimpse when he drops Casey off for school.
Yes.
I think it might be Von Bargen or it might be the
It's
coach.
Robert Patrick.
It's
'cause-
Patrick. He goes up to the car and like leans on it, and that just lets you know that he's done for.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
this is,
Which is
that's
fine.
But I need to see, like,
Yeah.
I want more of that.
Yeah, I need
Yeah.
to see
because
if
I don't
they're
think
gonna
he's
do
in
that.
the, I don't think he's in the movie after.
No,
Well, that,
that's it.
neither is Robert Patrick. He's got like 3 more lines, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen.
In that car scene though that you just mentioned, that's where McDonald does the shooter. He
Oh,
just
right.
shooter with his finger. It's pretty fucking cool.
He's got the great mustache in this movie. So they wind up going to Zeke's house. Like they realize, oh shit, school's fucked. Let's go to Zeke's house, which, if IMDb is to be believed, is the same house from Multiplicity, by the way.
Oh.
Now, I don't know how true that is because it didn't look like the detached garage matched up the
Yeah.
same way.
Huh.
Well, it's got a lot of derivative stuff in it.
Yeah, this is written by the third fucking Kevin Williamson clone, Steve, drinking a lot of Coca-Cola and writing this script.
Yeah, Steve Williamson, he's the real workaholic one.
Blood fart.
Then we get
Eating spaghetti all over
Yeah.
himself. Yeah,
and it turns out at home, Josh Hartnett likes to torture animals. He's got this little.
he kills this rat pretty quick.
It's crazy.
Because
the
you know what that
spouse or
tells
whatever.
you? Not the first time he's done that.
Oh, definitely not at all. He's probably testing scat on it forever, and the prior mice or whatever this is,
Yep.
rat or whatever it is. Anyway,
Oscar the 7th.
he what is he feeds the fucking monster to it, and then he
Yeah,
cuts it open, and then he kills. Oh my god!
He puts the monster in the cage. It immediately assimilates the rat, and then he breaks the rat's neck.
He just
and then,
puts his hand into the cage and crushes this living animal with his bare hands.
Which none of these kids react appropriately
Dude,
enough. I can't. If
That's
I was just
Dahmer Town.
if I was in some kid's house in high school and all of a sudden that dude just squoze a rat's neck and killed it in front of me, I'd have something to
But
say.
the stakes are high here, Andrew. We just killed the science teacher.
Yeah, once
I guess
see,
that's true.
Also, once I see the alien thing doing it, I'm like, oh, we got bigger fish to fry here. I'll let the rat die. If not for the alien, yes, I understand
But
what
the
you're talking about.
confusing part of this scene for me is like, so that happens. He kills this rat,
Yeah.
which also he names it George or whatever. Like, don't do that. Don't name this thing. Don't make me whatever. I didn't appreciate that. But so that happens. He kills this rat or whatever. But then I guess the kid got distracted or something in the movie because the next thing I know, he's doing an operation on this rat stuffed animal.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just
Yes.
praising the practical effects,
Yes.
but this fucking stuffed animal cut open on the table is really funny.
Well, that's,
It
I mean,
is.
of course, and Dr. Hartnett, who's like, he just got out of Columbia, don't you
Yeah,
know?
well,
He
he's
just-
about to help Oppenheimer make the bottom.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that's
that's right.
right,
He's gonna
yeah.
get out. Oppenheimer Jr.
Dude, and there's also a part two. This is where the gun comes into play.
Yes.
It's like Elijah Wood sees it. It's just, of course, a gun just casually on his science counter.
This kid is not cool, man. I don't know what's going on.
Dude, and it's crazy because, like, Casey is looking rightfully like, what the fuck? And Hartnett's character has to be like, yeah, it's a gun. And I'm like, yeah, exactly, dude. It's a fucking gun on your science desk. What are we doing?
You're fired.
5 months later, this movie's a totally different movie.
Yeah, absolutely. You wait till April, the faculty.
Well, we should find out, honestly, some researcher to find out what Dylan, Clable, and Eric, whatever.
Yeah.
Sure.
What were they doing on Christmas Day,
You think
1998?
they're watching The Faculty?
Yeah,
that's what did it.
That's what my thoughts
Well,
are.
if you watch Gus Van Sant's Elephant, you'll think that maybe they were showering together.
Yeah, they were
which
having a
is
nice little shower.
I listened to a book on tape, the big Dave Cullen Columbine book,
Oh yeah.
which is just great because every
How the hell could you hear over the gunshot?
Oh, come on.
I'm sorry.
I just do love because it's one
Sorry.
of those things that's just burned into my brain like this audio earworm. Columbine. by Dave Cullen. It's just like because it's an audiobook.
He's introducing a game show.
Every like CD, or in this case, but you have to make it for like every track would be.
Can I ask you, were you doing this on audiobook because you didn't want to be the dude reading a Columbine book on the train?
No, I was unemployed at one of my gaps in employment.
Okay, so you had a grudge against society.
I was walking dogs for a buddy,
Sure.
and I was like, I'll listen to the audiobook.
Got it.
Columbine, read by Katy Perry.
It was a misty morning when it went out,
And there were fireworks the night before.
Columbine by James Belushi. Yeah, these kids, man, they're messed up.
What they have to do is they have to eat a steak before they go to school, and then they'll know masculinity, and they wouldn't do this stuff.
The only part I agree with him on, and hear me out, the only part I agree with him on, they went bowling.
Oh, yeah.
But so, yeah, long story short, this gun would
I
not
like
be
The Matrix too.
The gun would not be in the movie.
The gun would not be in the movie. So this is one where just somebody watched the thing, and literally we now realize that scat kills it, so everyone needs to do a shot of scat to prove that they're not part of it.
Yes.
Elijah Wood does it first, does some really bad high acting right here.
It's so bad, but it's also
he turns into the Joker kind of.
But
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't disagree with you, but I think you could also read it as like he's the nerd kid that's like definitely never smoked weed before
yeah,
or whatever.
Hit
And
him
so
up
it's like
a ton of bricks.
I've never felt this way, and it's that amusing to me. Like, remember that time, Cabin? We were at our buddy's house and we got super stoned, and we were watching RoboCop, but then it was like, we're going to play Nintendo 64, and I couldn't figure out how to hook up the Nintendo, and it was the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because that's like beginner level weed smoking. So I
Yes.
think that might be.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it is funny because it's also just like little Elijah Wood, and he's just like giggling on the couch. It's very funny.
Well, and also because when you find out, like, you don't really know what scat is, and then Josh Hartnett is like, it's caffeine and a lot of household products.
I don't
And
know
I'm
what
like,
else
You
I'm
know,
talking here.
but that's why I
Cough
think
syrup?
I think that's exactly why, though, because it's like you say the one thing and then you don't tell the audience the rest of it because you don't want kids trying to make scat
It's
at
just,
home.
all these kids are just doing meth essentially.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like,
That's what I kind of thought was going on because he's got the big lab and everything, and I was like, oh, he's making meth, but then it's like, no, it's just this fake thing that I made up.
But he does at some point, I think, because the bully, the football guy's like, "What the fuck's wrong?" He's like, "He's fucking tweaking, man. Let him tweak."
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Let the boy tweak.
You let that boy tweak.
Let
You
the
leave that
boy tweak in your house.
And
that boy is just tweaking. You leave him be.
Boy Tweaker. It's by David Cullen.
and this scene would be better
Columbine. By David Cullen.
if there was more gravitas or more to these performances.
Sure.
Yeah.
Of people just being like, no, I don't want to do.
Well, you don't have the
scat."
president from Clear Present Danger being like, "Well, someone take me to this fucking couch."
Well, yeah. You know what
love that guy.
John Carpenter does well? Builds tension and
Yeah.
releases it. So,
Yeah.
like, there's not none of these shots allow you to build the tension even. Like, visually, it's not even doing
Because
it.
That's
they're
true.
doing all everyone does it. It goes down to Jordana Brewster and the girl from Suicide Kings,
Mary
and,
Beth, I think, is the character.
and it's like, oh, you both have to do it, and they both don't want to do it.
Uh,
And Mary Beth does it, but then Jordana Brewster doesn't. And then like, here's something that I was confused about. I thought it was 1 bug per person, but when she shows it, she's got like 40 bugs on her face.
Because I
Yeah.
think that it's like
One bug rules
gestating.
you, and then like you are going to be spitting bugs
Oh,
later for
remember-
other
wait,
people.
wait,
I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yes, because remember in the
Patrick
fish
does it.
tank, it replicates.
I
It
see.
turns into 2.
Oh, right.
So it replicates in water. Your body's 72% water, so that's how it's replicating inside of you.
Even more, we've already learned from fucking the Stewart, like the Stewart death just happened. You snort this shit and you're an alien, you die.
Yes, yeah.
And it's like, well, it's Jordana Brewster. We want her to be in the rest of the movie, don't we, everybody?
Well, she
Yeah.
almost does it, and then she like snarls and turns into a monster a little bit.
I thought it was like she kind of did it.
oh, does she?
But I think it's probably the difference of like Jon Stewart's character got it through the eyeball into his brain versus like maybe like a little tube.
But there's something weird about that too, because it doesn't happen immediately. It's like when he gets wet, like when the wetness drains it down is when he gets hit by it.
Yeah.
It's again one of these rules. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Especially with shit like this, with aliens and whatnot. Like, you need consistency as far as like how you're killing them, what happens when you kill them.
There's a mention of the older lady and why that she was falling apart is that it didn't take because she didn't have enough water in her body because of cancer medication or something.
It was like she kept getting too dehydrated and couldn't like hydrate enough constantly to keep herself.
That Texas heat.
She kept on drinking coffee. It's a diuretic, you know.
But she like jumps out the window and Von Bargen just kind of picks her up.
Yes.
It's kind of great. He's just there in the student driver car. Yeah.
Which, man, Von Bargen as the surly driver's ed instructor, that would have been cool to see.
I would love it.
It would be funny if like Boston is blaring from the fucking radio.
And this is when I think somebody, it might even be Stokely or Elijah Wood, because their lines kind of mostly get they're the same. One of them is just like, oh, if you kill the queen, then everyone else should turn back to normal. I'm like, well, why the fuck would that be?
Right, yeah.
Because we want to end the movie eventually.
Listen, they're also vampires. Let's just get to the end.
All of a sudden it's like, you know what? Why don't we put in some Lost Boys here for good measure? Get that in there.
What the hell?
So now we're like getting towards the final act that we all despise, but we have this a football game. Not really a fan of the Pink Floyd cover by Class of '99.
Dreadful.
But
dreadful.
We have the signs kill in the audience, which I love. So now I guess everyone is assimilated on the home team.
And we're actually, when we're hitting people, we're really like knocking people down, like really like throat fucking these kids.
Yes.
And we're putting we're also, when they're down, we're putting aliens in them.
Which I thought this was kind of cool.
It's
like
smart.
when they're tackling and it's like you see the little worm, and it's kind of this great, like all of the team, gotta say, really great fucking alien-led defense on this football team. They are swarming these ball carriers, and it's they all jump on top. So like the referee's taking a long time to get off.
Robert Patrick having the time of his life in this performance is looking great. Dancing around.
And this is a part of the movie that makes sense because so the aliens are violent. Therefore, the football game would be like this like perverse nightmare version of a football game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, or even like a really, I mean, honestly,
or just
close.
It's a regular football game.
It is, yeah. It's a close version of what a football game could be, but much more violent.
What you're gonna want to do is do an activity that makes all the moisture in your body get out. You don't want to retain any of that moisture, like we said you might want to.
This is what we need Robert Patrick to be running up there. We got to moist up these boys.
Here's your pool.
Need my boys moist.
Yeah.
He's just got kiddie pools on the side. All right, once you're off the field, get in your kiddie pool.
Hose girl, get him.
Alien Bobby Boucher, get over here.
I'm gonna need 5 hoses on my boy. He's a quarterback.
I gotta say though, we need some fucking flags on the field here. There is one point where Usher literally clotheslines a kid.
Yeah.
And it will always be badass. Like my grandma could have been doing this and it would look badass. The person doing the clotheslining is just standing there and just reaches the arm out and lets the person run into it.
Yeah.
Badass move. But we need some flags on the field.
We do.
Oh, please, yes. I mean, the referees might have had the fucking aliens.
That's also true.
You never know. Yeah. But it is kind of cool because they're like, oh, what is their big like advantage time here? Oh, the whole town is at the football game because this is Friday Night Lights in Ohio.
It occurs to me that this might have worked, and the faculty thing might have been able to actually work if this was all on one day.
Yes.
Like Robert Patrick's thing and all that happens in the morning. And then like the plan is get them all quick during the day because there's not real schedule because it's the day of the big game and everybody's like talking.
You're totally right, dude.
And then you can at least have all the drama be compressed into one moment rather than half my problem is that like I'm like, after 2 days of this, I'm not going to fucking I don't care if Christopher McDonald. I will literally Chris McDonald can take the roof off my fucking room. I don't care. I'm not going.
I think part of they do try to say at one point or another, like, I think it might be around when we're leaving the garage or whatever. And it's like, why don't we just get the fuck out of here? And they're like, because we are the only ones that know about this. And if we don't do anything, because Elijah Wood, I think, has the line, like, they took the whole school in one day. Like, if we don't try to do something, the world is over, which like the stakes are that high, but the movie fails to actually amp that up in any
Doesn't
real,
feel like it.
any real way.
Instead, we just we're in the empty gymnasium
For
regrouping.
ages.
Just regroup. Like, I don't understand why we're even at this location. But anyway, Bebe Neuwirth shows up, and there's this whole debate about if she's one of them or not. Just stab her with the scat pen or shoot her in the head. Yeah.
Columbine by Dave Collins.
I mean, Hartnett comes out ablazing
Yeah.
and shoots this woman in the head, dude. Really wild turn for this movie.
Yeah,
It is
it's
a wild turn.
They're like, oh, like nothing's happening to her. Like, and then it's a weird, like, oh, we just fucking killed we killed that poor woman,
Yes.
man. You know, and
and
then
there's
like,
blood everywhere, which is
Yeah.
nice to see. But then, yes, we finally see the creepy crawlies coming out of her. So what happens now? When they
Well-
kill the queen, does those little creepy crawlies
Yes.
put her brain back together after being shot?
Well, yeah, and they're gonna put the flesh, the flap that was open is gonna be
Okay, yes,
that's
the flesh
also
flap.
gonna that's
Yes,
also gonna
known
be
as
handled
the front of your skull.
at the front of the skull. But what is
busted my flesh flap.
the important part of this is that
Yeah.
Mary Beth, who has like the drug gun,
Yes.
it's this big bulb full of it.
I guess that's like how he loads the pens.
Yes,
Right?
and she just like throws it at does one throw at Bebe Neuwirth where it's very clear she does, and then pours it all out.
Which
And-
I guess now, in retrospect, she's getting rid of
It's the queen. She's trying to waste
Yeah.
it.
Well, I would have been like, oh, it's her. Oh, we gotta kill her. Let's kill her.
But then they're like, oh, I guess how do we know if we want? Yo, Stan, you want to go check out? Or why do you go out by yourself?
This
and
is
just,
the stupidest fucking part. And it's lazy as shit. And also kind of funny eventually. I got so many emotions watching this movie. But like, that's really dumb. It's like, now I must go out and be the hero. And I was like, but Stan, is it your movie, man? I don't really know. And like, he
Doesn't
goes
seem like
out.
it.
Yeah. And like, Robert Patrick is menacing and shitty. And it's like, uh-oh. And then Stan
cut.
comes back
Yeah,
immediately.
Yes.
And so it's like, why bother cutting then?
No, show me.
You revealed it in
Yes.
25 seconds.
No.
Just show
What?
me
Look.
Usher getting them or whatever.
Do you want all these people to be scared? Huh? What's wrong with you? You want these people to feel tension? What the fuck's wrong with you?
Well, if we're like stuck in the gym, what if like Robert Patrick starts knocking on the door? Like,
Yep.
you know what I mean?
Right,
Like, this is
yeah.
kind of spooky, scary. And then Piper Laurie is like, hello. Like,
You
the
had
fucking
her-
faculty could show up.
That's the thing. The faculty needs to descend on these
Yeah.
children.
Yes.
And instead, like, it's not even Robert Patrick. He literally just sends the football squadron after
Yes.
them. Because, of course, Stan is turned, and you
Yeah.
know he's turned because he starts calling Stokely a bitch and,
Yes.
you know, being nasty to her and
He
whatnot.
won't do
after-
the drugs.
Yes.
Yes, he refuses to do it, and it's kind of a good menacing. Like he picks up the pen on the other side of the
Yeah.
door and slowly turns it over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is it's something, but like
We're doing a Salem's Lot. Oh, it's better this way, kind of a thing.
yes, oh, I feel so great. Yeah, all that.
You'll
stuff.
be beautiful.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's
She's
Clea
like, I'm
Duvall.
1998 Clea Duvall, dude. I'm doing it just all right.
Totally
You'll,
fine.
you'll wear a purple dress and be normal finally.
But yeah, it's open the fucking door right here. By the way, I'm sorry it couldn't save him like it did in World War Z. There's a Pepsi machine.
Yes.
that
Oh, yeah, it's
you
there.
cannot miss this Pepsi machine in the auditorium.
That's because you didn't take a drink. You should have gotten a Pepsi and then you would have been able to kill this fucker. It's got caffeine.
That's
No,
true.
right.
You could have killed it with the Pepsi.
That's
we're just
true.
gonna throw soda on him.
This is when
Okay, we got the 3-liter Pepsi. Get the Mentos.
Hartnett, by the way, is like, oh no, I think I have more drugs in my car. And I'm like, why the fuck are they in your car, asshole? Like, what is that doing?
Totally, dude. You got to clear that shit out. So then it's like we got to run through the rainy parking lot,
Yes.
to get to his car or whatever. And this is, it's so dumb. And I just could not help but laugh. So like the football team's coming after them. And, he's turned into an alien. And I guess it's like maybe the pressure to conform with the rest of the alien football team. Why does Stan change into a jersey and shoulder pads right
Does
here?
he really? I
Yeah.
missed it.
All of a sudden, when you see
He
the football
suits
team
up.
like running down on all
Yeah.
of them, Stan is leading the pack, and he's got shoulder pads and a jersey on.
Oh no, he's one of them.
Yeah.
It's just dumb.
Then-
And Elijah
Yeah.
Wood goes in the bus and gets like sexually harassed by Jordana Brewster.
What,
Right.
man, Steve, wasn't it crazy? What are the odds, dude?
Yeah.
In a parking lot that is filled with school buses, He picks the one that Jordana Brewster's hiding in. Unbelievable.
It's good luck, is what that is,
Dude, and then to escape this bus, he jumps through the emergency roof hatch thing like he's fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, he's got a web slinger going on. I mean, the stupider thing is the Hartnett thing with Famke Janssen.
Yeah,
where,
she's in his car.
And doing the whole thing and like, come on, don't you want to be this way? And then he hits her with the car. What?
No, she's in the back seat of the car. She's like,
he hits the bus.
She throws her head through the window to stop him from getting away or whatever, and crawls in.
She crawls into the car and he drives away like with her in it. There is, man. We didn't touch on it during the first harassment part, but part of it is
Harry Knowles
when she's given Hartnett's character guff about like slinging in the parking lot or whatever. He's like, "Oh, Miss whatever, maybe you need some Lactaid shit or whatever." And then she's like, "No," and he goes, "What about some of these? They're cherry flavored and it's condoms, right?"
Yes.
So the callback here is he's like, "Oh, you looking for some of those, diarrhea pills or constipation pills or whatever it is?" And she's like, "No, I'm looking for something a little more cherry flavored."
Okay, cool. I'm an alien now. That rules.
Yep. Oh, if this is what being an alien is going to be like, absolutely. Where's the earworm?
Turn me now, but then I need to go to the hospital again.
You know what? You might as well take the risk. It's just like, well, they'll probably find the queen and fix everyone anyway.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
So she's in the backseat and he speeds off.
Yes.
And he hits a bus. She goes flying into a humongous explosion.
Straight out of like Death Wish 4, this explosion.
Because it's Robert Rodriguez. That's what he does.
Let him have his fun. And she gets decapitated. And did you know right before this there was an homage to the thing?
Yeah.
Did you know that? You might have forgotten because you know what? Here comes another one, you fucking pig.
Yeah.
There's tentacles coming out of Famke Janssen's head. It looks like shit.
On the shot chart, you got all your your index cards on a bulletin board. You look at both of those and you're like, that's too many. You know what I mean? You're just like, we got to go with one.
Absolutely.
Hey, Kev, come in here. We got a story meeting. We can only do the one absolute thing ripoff. And only one.
And I'm thinking we stick with the kids with the drugs because I was looking at this and this looks like fucking shit.
Exactly. It's such an easy decision. Do the one where it's just kids in a tense situation talking to each other and getting all paranoid. Not the CGI head. Not the
really
CGI
and then the head
is
the body's looking for the head. It's kind of silly.
And she does put it back on.
It's also sort of like a Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the sound of Harry Knowles coming.
Fantastic facts.
And real dumb end to all of this because, all right, Josh Hartnett, you have raced to crash your cool GTO into this school bus. There's kind of a cool thing where he's trying to get the seatbelt on. Pretty cool. He sees this head, and I know they're just trying to play it for laughs, but we were in the third act of this movie. He looks at the head and he goes, "Oh, fuck this," and drives away. And I'm like, no. You're trying to stop this. I need a second rundown or he picks up the head and throws it in the fireball or something. I don't know.
Look, we already know. We kill the head one, and then they all go away. Why bother with this? I mean, the guess I had is clearly right.
Which comes true because at this point, Mary Beth reveals herself by attacking Stokely.
Right.
And she starts chomping on scenery that she just can't do.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe you didn't need to order the all-you-can-eat buffet. Maybe just a little side salad of scenery.
She is cracking her teeth on this scenery,
and
dude.
when
it's
Zeke
bad.
runs in, there's a brief it's not me. She's the one.
Oh,
no,
yes.
not her. Me.
And she's naked. Meanwhile, it's like, well, why are you naked?
Well, that's the whole thing, right? Is she hits Stokely or whatever, and then she's chasing Stokely and Casey, Elijah Wood's character, around. We get into the gym here, getting a little bit ripping off Chud 2, Bud the Chud's climax, if you ask me, which no one did. But then it's just the thing jumps in the water, and then she comes back out of it. And this is what I'm saying. Once she jumps back out of the pool as the monster, it needs to stay this, not come in and just be naked, girl.
Yeah.
Well,
Chud 2. Bud the Chud by Dave Cullen.
That was a fucking great adaptation, by the way. Really faithful to the film itself.
Luck Be a Lady, a memoir by Bebe Neuwirth.
To complement the end of this movie in some way, I do think eventually this monster starts chasing Casey, Elijah Wood's
turns
character.
into a battleship in the water.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden,
Yeah.
it goes from being a pretty like good-looking little character to this humongous thing
That's
moving
true.
through the water.
But
Like
that's-
it would displace all the water.
That's not what I'm complimenting. Though,
What?
Chris.
Oh,
What I'm
okay.
complimenting is, I think it's pretty clever for a high school set movie to have the bleachers retract as a set piece.
Yes,
it's
this
a
is
neat-
pretty cool.
this is-
Yes.
and that's it. You know, that's kind of the last thing. I think everybody gets knocked out except for Casey. Casey's running around.
X-Files already did it.
Oh.
What if the X-Files was real?
Yes.
Did you ever think about that?
I haven't, Scully.
There is, I mean, the cool stuff with all the shadows, it reminded me very like Jacques Tourneur horror, like 40s horror, like cat people kind of shit.
Yeah.
Pretty neat idea where it's like you see her as a in human form, but the, you know, shadow is the alien and whatever.
I agree. I think that's a good point. But also, you have to listen to them talk, and that's a real problem.
Well,
I'm
that's
having
because
here.
she is
That's
just
true.
spewing all of this scenery chomping dialogue about her home planet used to be filled with all these oceans. I guess she came
No,
from
it
fucking
wouldn't.
Avatar land or something.
Sure.
And but then all of the stuff, all of my planet started drying up. So I was the only alien that left it. And like, I need like, where's the fucking ship? How did you like just?
Yeah. If we're actually explaining stuff, which we shouldn't.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
but that's the thing. Like, buy the ticket, ride the ride, dude.
Yeah.
You're fucking trying to do this. You have to give
But
them deets.
if we're doing all like sci-fi movie references, the Invasion of the Body Snatcher should be the first wave.
Yeah.
We should get a flying saucer in the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
absolutely.
Do you think that there was somewhere somebody was going to do the Donald Sutherland?
I think they wanted that to be like the end of this movie. Like that would be the last shot, just like in the 78
Yeah.
Body Snatchers. But they were like, that's too nail on. We'll get
That's too
fucking
much.
sued. Erwin Winkler.
John
whoever's gonna
Carpenter's
sue
already
us.
taken us to the bank.
So
But
the
he stabs it.
the bleachers closes on the Monstar, and then he stabs it,
Yeah.
and it coughs up a bunch of little snot monsters that go into Elijah Wood's face.
And then they fall out of his face pretty quickly.
Yes.
And then like wouldn't he have scars on his face forever? Because
No, they fixed it on the way in.
yeah.
And then
I,
everyone
uh,
else is fine now. Everything's good.
1 month later.
Oh man. Well, before 1 month later, I just have to just point out this really bizarre thing that happened. Is that when the alien was killed,
Uh-huh.
it went from being a CGI cartoon nightmare to an actual fucking puppet that was sitting there. And I'm like, you guys had the puppet.
I feel like the puppet is
You
used once
see
or
it.
twice.
You see
There's
it
a couple
otherwise.
of shots where there is some puppet. Not a
it's
ton, but some.
when it's standing on the bleachers when she first reveals herself, that is a puppet.
That's a puppet? Oh,
and
okay.
then when Stokely first gets hit, but the second time it comes out of the water to get both of them,
Uh-huh.
it's a puppet there as well.
Okay. All right. I thought that was the only instance of, but even worse
But no,
than,
it's, yeah,
you know,
it looks good here.
But the CGI is so
I'm
bad.
glad Chris was on Puppet Patrol.
always, Eric.
But they all wake
I
up.
saw the light, Eric.
They wake up. And I mean, like, I don't know, like, here's the thing. You've got Elijah Wood, Stokely, and Zeke. They survive.
Yep.
End of movie.
That's
Right?
still-
Like, it's just
that's-
like, wow. Like, maybe you want to do 1 month later, like, man, here, putting flowers on graves or something.
Sure.
Like, have the stakes, have the balls that this
Yes.
matters. 1 month later, literally everybody's alive.
It's
it
awful.
makes no sense. It just makes no darn sense.
Well, yeah,
Zeke is playing football now.
And he's he's a 13th grader, and now he's doing this for his final few
Yeah.
months of school.
yeah, I guess so. But you know, he's the fucking badass because he is smoking on the football field.
and fucking the teachers,
Yes.
It seems like
which
Well, dude.
nowadays is frowned upon.
But yeah, it is a real like Miss Whatever is willing to risk it all with Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
She's there watching the practice. It is kind of neat. She does have a thin pink scarf like around her neck, even though it's dumb that she's alive again. Like it's at least a nice
Yes.
little like detail that I guess she's got little
Harvey.
decapitation scar there.
Harvey, we got back from the test screening. Here's the top notes. They want Clea Duvall to be normal. They want Josh Hartnett to be a jock, but not too much of a jock. They want Josh Hartnett to smoke. And they want like all the deaths to just go away, so it doesn't matter what happened.
And they want Harry Knowles to kiss Salma Hayek. Oh, that Harry just flipped that in. Sorry.
Oh, damn it!
That was from the Fantastic Fest audience.
They all wanted it.
It's just so dumb because like think again about Scream and how that ends. At Stu Macher's house. That's it. That's the end of the fucking
blood
movie.
everywhere. And like, again, enough characters survive Randy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got plenty
Courtney
for a
Cox.
sequel. There's plenty of kids at the end of this movie for the faculty to the college
wait,
years.
here's a problem. Debuted 5th at the box office.
Not a good placing,
Christmas
I will
Day.
say.
Well, I mean, I think that like it's very clearly a reshoot this 1 month later because Elijah Wood's hair is much longer.
That's why it's 1 month, dude. It's like, oh fuck, we're gonna butcher and change this ending.
He's
better
already-
make it 1 month later because everybody looks completely different.
He's already dressed like a Frodo guy. What do they call those? Halflings? Hobbits? Hobbits. Okay.
Hobby bits.
What do
not a
they
bit.
call
I'm
them?
just forgetting. I don't know. They're the small. I don't remember. Listen, I gotta remember a bunch of shit in here.
It's true. It's
I
true.
gotta. Sometimes you just gotta let one franchise go.
Jordana Brewster shows him the stupidest thing in the world, which are two, like, it's Newsweek and Time, who have Elijah Wood on the cover.
What?
Not the fucking aliens.
Yes.
That
my
was
God.
like hero of school as opposed to aliens exist. God is dead.
Yeah,
And they
totally.
can take over your
No,
body.
it's People Magazine Generation Extraterrestrial because everyone's still Gen X here. Meet the young teens who fought the alien terror. Next magazine, Time. Hero or hoax? What really happened at the Harrington High alien invasion?
You were just like setting up shit that does not matter for the last 20
And
seconds
then,
of this
of course,
movie.
the Hornet Weekly, Delilah herself wrote this. Casey Connor saves school. Local boy Casey Connor leads the fight. Because I screenshotted it. It actually is a
no,
written
Eric,
article.
no.
Local
No.
boy Casey Connor
Oh,
leads
boy.
the fight
Eric.
as aliens attempt to take over to Harrington High School. Casey and his friends,
Call me
Zeke,
Ishmael.
Delilah, Stokely team
On the
up for.
plates. The whaling was a thing that happened. And
Columbine by Dave Cullen.
I have to derail you somehow.
Oh no!
Oh, you know what? Jordana Brewster's character can't write for shit. How about that?
Yeah, she's no,
Why don't
she's
you
no
pick a new
Zuckerman.
career?
Please.
Yeah, no Andrea Zuckerman.
Please do
indeed.
not try.
And any
All
other
right,
cool
no,
deets from that
there are
article?
actually cool deets, but I know they're just going to be mocked. So we'll move on.
Oh,
Stu
also,
Macher's in here.
they're definitely dating. They're making out
Of
right here.
course.
And because she's more comfortable with herself, you see,
Mm-hmm.
she's not so superficial that she's wearing contacts all the time. She's got some hot nerd girl glasses on right here.
Wow.
Can you
Yeah.
even believe it?
That's really something.
And the Tommy Hilfiger clothing is flowing. Everybody's
Woo!
wearing some Tommy.
We're going to live forever.
It's to tell you that some things that uniformity brings, are kind of okay. Having glasses, kind of okay.
well, and Stokely is making out with Stan, and she's wearing a pink dress, like a standard issue girl's dress.
Yes.
Can I get a girl's dress on this girl over here, please?
Finally.
What's this black shit?
I want lavender.
Jeans on a girl, really?
So we were making a movie here.
Give me a girl's dress on Clea Duvall, God damn it!
It's so fucking dumb. And she's like, because he's watching the football practice or whatever, and she's like, "Are you sure you don't miss it?" And he's like, "Nope." Of
course,
making
Stan
out.
Stan would never make out with her if she was wearing jeans. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
Jesus
That's
Christ.
true.
No.
That's true.
No.
Wait, you're telling me that this guy's gonna want to kiss this girl? She's got a black T-shirt on. I don't think so.
Please take off the Sisters of Mercy shirt before we make out.
And the last real line of the movie is like Jordana Brewster being like, "Oh, hey, Casey, the press here wants to talk to you." And he goes, "Network or local?" And she goes, "Both." Play that Oasis.
Oh my God.
And then we get like a little curtain call for all of our people, and we get an okay enough joke with Jon Stewart with the eye patch. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Like it's
An eye patch and like a
Donut.
a brace on his hand or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's back to life too.
But that is like that's a scene that didn't make whatever the original ending of this
Yes.
movie was.
Yes.
You're not just filming that for a credit sequence victory lap.
No.
That was a scene that just became that.
Yep.
Very, very stupid.
Yeah,
And then
bad.
you get This was, I think, the scariest part of the movie. And I'd rather have a fucking faculty earworm go in my brain than this Shawn Mullins changes
Pretty bad.
cover.
Oh, yeah.
Flush this right down the toilet.
It is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
Oh my God, dude. It's abysmal. It almost made me hate music.
Well, Shawn Mullins, that's what it'll do, dude.
Yeah. It's
Rockabye.
Yeah.
Or Lullaby, whatever that fucking song
Yeah,
was. Just put it in the trash compactor.
Rockabye.
Oh, God. Fuck that.
Oh, but that is the end. That is the end of this movie. Go around the horn here. Final thoughts, Eric Siska.
Scat it up, folks. No. It's a
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a directive to start.
No, I meant telling the
apologize.
kids to sniff meth or whatever this is, or speed or whatever. Get some Ritalin or whatever. Have a good night tonight. Anyway.
Yes.
It's the lightest of recommends, bordering on almost not. I feel like I like it less now that we've talked about it.
As sometimes that happens here.
But it despite its flaws, it moves wellish enough, and it's kind of just, for me at least, sort of like a little nostalgia dip, you know. So it's the lightest of light recommends.
Chris Cabin.
No, it's crap. I just think it's really badly made. Like that's kind of my major issue. And like the fact that it can't decide anything. It's like, is uniformity good or is it bad? Is this a horror movie or just kids jacking each other off? I don't. With a water creature, I don't know. Like all of this, I was just kind of like, I don't know what you're trying to do here, and I'm just annoyed the whole time.
Yeah.
And I think you waste a good cast in the trade. Like they're bringing it, but like to what end?
Right.
Yeah, not for me.
Steven.
Yeah, it's a light recommend. It's to Eric's point. This is kind of like a comfort food for me. Like I haven't watched this movie in a long time. I imagine I won't watch it again in a long time. But like, I could just imagine catching this on cable on the right day and being like, "Ooh, the faculty's on," and just letting that happen to me. Even though it doesn't hang together, the third act is bullshit. It's the most literally one of the most chicken shit endings I've ever seen.
Yep.
I will say I'll recommend also on that Criterion list that they're playing is Ginger Snaps. Which does not have a chicken shit ending. Doesn't have a chicken shit bone in its body. It's a pretty hardcore teen werewolf. Super Canadian.
Oh, dude, I was about to say, speaking of hardcore Canadian.
Yes, but that's kind of doing the same thing here. It's also a pretty good cast as well.
Yeah. I'll just say, light recommend for me. It had been ages, like I said. I think it plays fine until the third act. It is indeed, I would say, a hangover movie par excellence, because it's the official runtime is just under 2 hours, so you get yourself a good, with commercial breaks, like 2.5 hour sludge fest of being hungover on the couch. Pretty great. And as far as like Kevin Williamson carbon copying himself and whatnot, this is bad. But boy, oh boy, whenever we get around to Wes Craven's Cursed, that's the nadir of this shit.
I forgot about that.
So stay tuned for us talking about that at some point, because
never saw it,
dude. Abysmal City.
And it's better than H2O, I will say.
What?
This movie.
Oh,
it's neck and neck, maybe.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, it's the same kind of like, I would watch it if it's on.
Yeah,
but I think also like,
at least that's got
Then you
my
got the
friend
Halloween.
Michael in it.
Yeah,
that's
and it's
my
got
friend Mike.
got my
He's
girl
there.
Jamie Lee and whatnot.
maybe you're right.
But to Chris's point, I do think the cast is really good, and that's why I think overall it's pretty unfortunate, because they don't really get to do a ton. But like, it is a stacked cast of most people that would go on to do bigger and better things. Sorry, Mary Beth, you had Suicide
And
King.
sorry, Harry Knowles.
Yeah, and that's points. I feel like when this airs on television, they got to cut him out.
Yeah.
Just
The
just
pan
as
and
much-
scan alone will just fucking do that.
But like, as you would cut out, like, people saying fuck, or like a fucking pair of titties going on in the
sure.
you just should cut him out of the movie, man, because
it's
just
obscene.
it's distracting. It is obscene. It's awful.
Yes.
Awful guy. Anyway, that is the end of the movie. That's Robert Rodriguez as the faculty. If you want more We Hate Movies, of course, check out patreon.com/We Hate Movies. And I'll say, if you're already there listening to this, that means you have subscribed on the $8 level and up, where you are getting these main feed WHM Prime episodes ad-free right on the Patreon. So if you've had some commercials today, maybe you want to check out that Patreon. Check that out. There's a lot of other stuff going on. We got a We Love Movies episode coming up. That is what, Chris Cabin?
Blade. That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Finally, the fat vampire enters the pantheon.
Oh, hell yeah. Love that guy,
God.
dude. Love that guy.
Blood rave.
Animation Damnation. Speaking of Texas,
We've got King of the Hill coming up, which is an episode I've not seen. I used to really love King of the Hill. It's been a long time since I've watched it. So
never seen a full episode before.
Wow.
I've seen bits and pieces. I was just always like, oh, they got a cartoon for Texas now. They got something for everyone.
Oh, Eric, you are going to love Dale.
I'm curious.
You're kind of like a Dale Gribble yourself there,
I've
dude.
heard that before.
And I will say, because there was some like shock, apparently. I saw some folks being like, why of all the King of the Hill episodes, this one? Because it is the most requested King of the Hill episode when we do Animation Damnation Listener Request Month.
Absolutely.
And what is the title?
I don't remember.
Aisle
8?
Yeah,
something like that.
Aisle 4A or something like that.
Anyway, yeah.
It's in the
4F.
Big Daddy Dispatch if you get that. So
Right.
Eric Sisko, who are we talking about at the Gleep Glossary?
We
this
will be
month?
talking about the Pod Racer pilots, not Sebulba, although we already have a Sebulba episode.
Yeah.
If you want to listen to that. I mean, and then also the Nexus is back to its regular schedule, to TOS, TNG, recapping. You get all of that, all of what we just said at that $8 level.
that's right. And if you bump up to 10, it's already out now. Another wild ass Melrose 210 episode. We're going to Paris. Well, the set is supposed to be Paris. Real abysmal, piggish American stuff there.
Hilarious.
You're definitely going to want to check that out. And you want to be prepared, folks, because next month, you want to make sure you're subscribed. The Q3 commentary is coming out. And oh, yeah, we are covering Society, Brian Yesna's Society.
That's
And it'll be
right.
my first time watching it. We're going to record it this Saturday.
Yep.
FYI, I've never seen that movie before. I will react to it live on the air.
It should be a lot of fun. Yes, even commentaries are at the $8 level. And if you subscribe today, you don't just unlock this future programming. You get all the old commentaries, all the old Animation Damnations.
It's like hundreds of hours. Of
We
content.
even put up, look how good we are. Look what saints we are. We even have the archive of the first like 110 episodes or so now has its own RSS feed. You don't have to futz around downloading MP3s off a Google Drive like we had before. You have your dedicated RSS feed for the first few hundred episodes, your dedicated RSS feed for this show, the main event included now on Patreon.
And speaking of the main event, both on the free feed and on our ad-free $8 and up feed for We Hate Movies Prime, as we call it, the show continues next week with what, Steve?
We're getting the steroid gang back together. It's Expendables 3.
Oh, yeah. We got Harrison Ford in this movie.
Oh.
We got Kelsey Grammer in this movie.
Isn't Wesley in this one? I think that's why we're doing.
Who? Oh, Wesley Snipes. Yes,
I believe
Wesley
he's-
Snipes also in this. I think, is Wesley the main villain?
I've never seen this one.
It's been a while since I saw Expendables 3 in theaters.
Same.
Lordy.
I mean, as soon as they're done, they leave my brain.
Yes,
Sure.
they're
that's
not.
true.
They're not making camp.
But isn't
Sure.
your brain excited to have it leave again?
oh yes, I mean,
I'm excited to watch this one again.
anytime to get some more Wesley Snipes time.
Absolutely.
That's all I want.
So until next week when we reunite with Sly and the Gang, I've been Andrew Jupin.
Steven Sadak.
Eric Siska.
Chris Cabin.
Take it easy.